Now in the 18th year of King Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, reigned of Israel, over Judah.
with
3 years reigned he in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Maacah, the daughter of
Let there be sought for my lord the king a young virgin, and let her stand before the king, and let her cherish him, and let her lie in thy bosom, that my lord the king may get heat. So they sought for a fair damsel throughout all the coast of Israel, and found a bishop
did that which was right in the eyes of the Lord, and turned not aside from anything that he
and the
commanded
damsel
all the
was
days of his
very
life.
fair,
So
and
only the
cherished
daughter
the
of
king,
Uriah
and
and
ministered to him.
there was war between
But the
Rehoboam
king
and
knew her
Jeroboam
not.
all the days of his life.
Then
Now the rest of the acts of Abijam,
the son
all that
of
he did, are they not written in
exalted
the book of the
himself,
Chronicles of the kings of
I will
Judah?
be king.
There was war between Abijam
And he
and Jeroboam.
prepared him chariots and
Abijam slept
horsemen
with
and
his
50
fathers,
men
buried him in the city
to
of
run
David.
before him.
And Asa
And his father had
reigned in
not
his stead.
displeased him
And in the
at
20th
any
year of
time,
Jeroboam,
saying,
king of Israel,
Why
reigned
hast
over
thou done so?
Judah. And
And
41
he also
years
was
reigned he in
a very
Jerusalem.
goodly
His
man,
mother's
and
name
his
was
mother bare
Maacah,
him
the daughter
after
of Abishua. And Asa did that which was
And
right
he
in the eyes of the
conferred
Lord,
with
as did
Joab,
David
the
his
son
father.
of
And he took away the Sodomites out of the land, and
and
removed
with
all the idols that his fathers had made.
the priest.
And also
And
Maacah, his
they
mother, even
following
her he removed
Adonijah
from being queen,
helped
because she had made an
But
idol in
Zadok,
a grove.
the
And
priest,
Asa destroyed her
and
idol and burned it by
Benaiah,
the
the
brook
son
Kidron,
of
which the high places were
and
not
Nathan,
removed.
the prophet,
Nevertheless,
and
Asa's heart was
Shimei,
perfect with the
and
Lord all his
Reiah,
days.
and the
And
mighty
he brought him
men
the things which his father
which
had
belonged
dedicated,
to David,
and the things which himself
were
had
not
dedicated
with
into the house of the Lord, silver and
and
gold and
Adonijah
vessels. And there
slew
was war
sheep
between
and
Asa
oxen
and
and
Baasha,
fat
king of
cattle
Israel,
by
all
the
their
stones
days. And Baasha, king of Israel, went up against Judah, and
which
built
is
Ramah, that he might not suffer
in
any to
Rogel,
go out, or come
and
into Asa,
called
king of
all
Judah.
his brethren,
And Asa
the
took all the
king's
silver and the
sons,
gold
and
that
all
belonged to
the
the
men
treasures
of
of the house of the
Judah,
Lord,
the
and
king's
the treasures
servants,
of the king's house, and
but
delivered them
Nathan
into
the
the hand
prophet,
of his servants. And King Asa
Benaiah,
sent them to Ben-Hadad, the son
and the
of
mighty
Rehoboam,
man
the
Solomon
son of
his
Hazael,
brother,
king of
called
Syria,
not.
that dwelt at
Wherefore
Damascus,
Nathan
saying,
spake unto
There is a league
Bathsheba,
between me and thee,
the mother of
and between my
Solomon,
father
saying,
and thy father.
Hast thou not
Behold, I have
heard
brought
that
unto thee
Adonijah,
a present of
the
silver
son
and
of
gold.
Haggith,
Come and
doth
break
reign,
thy league
and
with
David
Baasha,
our
king of
Lord
Israel,
knoweth it
that
not?
he may depart from
Now
me.
therefore
So
come,
Abinadab
let me, I
hearkened unto
pray
King
thee,
Asa,
give thee
and sent the
counsel that
captains of the
thou
hosts
mayest
which he had
save
against the cities of
thine own
Israel,
life,
and
and the
smote
life
Ijon,
of thy son
and
Solomon.
Dan, and Abel-Beth,
Go and get thee
all
in unto
Chinneroth,
King David,
with all
and
the
say
land of
unto
Naphtali.
him,
And
Didst
it
not
came to
thou,
pass, when
my lord,
Baasha
O
heard
king, swear
thereof,
unto
that
thine
he left off
handmaid,
building of
saying,
Ramah,
For
and
me
dwelt in
Solomon thy
Kiriath.
son shall
Then
reign
King Asa
after
made a
me,
proclamation
and
throughout
he
all
shall
Judah,
sit
that none
upon
was
my
exempt.
throne.
And they took away
Why
the
then
stones of
doth
Ramah, and the
Adonijah
timber
reign?
thereof, wherewith
Behold,
Baasha
while
had
thou
builded.
yet
King
talkest
Asa built
there
with
with
them
the king,
Geba of
I
Benjamin,
also
and
will come
Mizpah.
in after
So
thee,
rest
and
of all the acts
confirm
of
thy
Asa,
word.
and all his might,
And
and all that
Bathsheba
he
went
did,
in
and the
unto the
cities which he
king,
built,
into
are they
the
not written in
chamber,
the
and the
book of
king
the
was
Chronicles
very
of the
old,
kings of
and
Judah? Nevertheless,
Abishai,
in the time of
the
his old age, he
Shunammite,
was diseased in his
ministered
feet.
unto the
And
king.
Asa slept with his
And
father,
Bathsheba
and was
bowed
buried with his
and
fathers in the
did
city of David
obeisance
his father. And Jehoshaphat his son reigned in his
unto the
stead.
king.
And Nadab the son
And the
of
king said,
Jeroboam
What
began
wouldest
to
thou?
reign over Israel
And she
in the
said
second
unto
year
him,
of
My
Asa
lord,
king of
thou
Judah, and
swearest
reigned
by
over
the
Israel
Lord thy
2
God
years.
unto thine
And he
handmaid,
did evil in the
saying,
sight of the Lord, and walked in
Assuredly
the way of his
Solomon thy
father.
son
And
shall
in
reign
his
after
sin,
me,
wherewith he made Israel to sin. And
and he
Baasha
shall
the son
sit
of
upon my
Ahijah, of
throne.
the house of
And now
Issachar,
behold,
conspired
Adonijah
against
reigneth.
him. And
And
Baasha
now,
smote
my
him
lord
at
the king,
Gibbethon, which
thou
belonged to the
knowest it not.
Philistines.
And he
Nadab
hath
and all
slain
Israel
oxen
laid
and
siege
fat
to
cattle
Gibbethon.
and
Even
sheep
in the
in
third year of
abundance,
Asa
and
king
hath
of
called
Judah
all
did
the
Baasha
sons of
slay
the
him,
king
and reigned in
and
his stead.
Abiathar
And it came to
the
pass
priest,
when he
and
reigned,
Joab
that
the
he
captain
smote
of
all
the
the house of
host. But
Jeroboam.
Solomon
He
thy
left not to
servant
Jeroboam any that
hath he
pleased,
not fought.
until he had destroyed
Thou,
him
my
according
lord,
unto the saying of the
O
Lord,
king, the
which he
eyes
spake
of
by
all
his servant
Israel are
Ahijah
upon
the
thee,
Shilonite.
that thou shouldest
Because of
tell
the
them
sins
who
of
shall
Jeroboam
sit
which he sinned,
on the throne
and
of
which he
my
made
lord,
Israel
to
sin
sing
by
after
his
him.
provocation, wherewith he
Otherwise it
provoked
shall
the
come
Lord
to
God of
pass
Israel
when
to
my
anger.
lord the king
Now
shall
the rest
sleep
of the
with
acts
his
of Nadab
fathers,
and
that
all that he
I
did,
and my
are
son
they not written in
Solomon
the
should
book of
be
the
counted
Chronicles of the
for.
kings of Israel?
And lo,
There was
while
war
she
between
yet
Asa
talked
and Baasha king of
with the
Israel
king,
all their
Nathan the
days.
prophet also
In the third
came.
year of Asa
And
king
they
of
told
Judah
the king, saying, Behold,
son of Ahijah to reign
Nathan
over
the
all Israel
prophet,
in Tirzah
when he was
30 and
come
4
in
years.
before the
And he
king,
did
he
evil in the
bowed
sight of the
himself
Lord,
before the king,
walked
with his face to the ground.
And in his sin
And
wherewith he
Nathan
made
said,
Israel
My
to
Lord, O
sin.
king, hast thou said,
Then the word of the Lord came to
Adonijah shall reign
Jehu,
after me,
Hanani,
and he shall
against
sit
Baasha, saying,
upon my throne.
Forasmuch as I
For
exalted
he
thee
is
out of
gone
the dust,
down
and
this
made
day
thee
and
prince
hath
over my
slain
people
oxen
Israel,
and
thou
fat
hast walked in
cattle
the
and
way of
sheep
Jeroboam,
in
and hast
abundance,
made
and
my
hath
people
called all the
Israel to
king's
sin,
sons and the
to provoke
captains of
thee
the
to
host
anger
and
with their
Abiathar
sins.
the priest.
Behold,
And
I
behold,
take
they
away the
eat and drink
posterity
before
of
him,
Baasha,
save
and the posterity
God
of his
save
house,
King
and will make
Adonijah.
thy house like the house
But
of
me,
Jeroboam
even
the son of
me,
Nebat.
thy
If
servant,
thou
and
diest of
Zadok the
Baasha
priest,
in the city, shall the
and
dogs eat,
Benaiah
and
the
him that
son
dieth
of
for his, and the
Jehoiada,
beetle
and
shall
thy
the
servant
fowls of the
Solomon
air eat.
hath he not
The
called.
rest of the acts of
And
Baasha,
this
and what
thing
he
done
did, and
by my
Israel,
lord
are
the
they not
king,
written in the book of the
and
Chronicles of the
thou
kings of
hast not
Israel?
showed it
So Baasha
unto thy
slept with his
servant,
fathers,
who
and
shall
was
sit
buried in
on the
Tyre.
throne of my lord the
His
king
son
after
reigned
him.
in his
So
stead.
King David
And also by the
Then
hand of the
King
prophet
David
Jehu,
answered
the
and
son of
said,
Hanani,
Call me
came the word
Bathsheba.
of the Lord
And
against
she came
Baasha
into the king's
against his
presence,
house,
and
even
stood
for all the
before the
evil
king.
that he
And the
did in
king
the sight of
sware
the
and
Lord,
said,
in provoking
As
him
the
to
Lord
anger
liveth,
with the work
that
of his
hath
hands,
redeemed my
and
soul
being
out of
like the
all
house of
distress,
Jeroboam, and
even
because he
as I
killed him.
swear unto thee by the Lord God of Israel, saying, Assuredly Solomon thy son
Baasha
shall
to reign
reign
over
after me,
Israel in Tirzah
and
for 2
he
years.
shall sit
And his
upon my
servant
throne in my
Zimri,
stead.
captain of
Even
half his
so
chariots,
will I
conspired
certainly
against
do
him,
this
as he
day.
was in Tirzah,
Then
making
Bathsheba
himself
bowed
drunk in
with
the
her
house of
face to the
Arza,
earth and
the
did
Lord of his
reverence
house in
to the
Tirzah.
king, and said,
And Zimri
Let my
went
lord
in and
King
smote
David
him, and
live
killed him in
forever.
the 27th year of
And
Asa
King
king of
David
Judah.
said,
And
Call
again,
me Zadok
and
the
to pass
priest,
when he began
and
to
Nathan
reign,
the
as
prophet,
soon as
and
he sat on his
Benaiah
throne, that he
When
slew
heaven
all
the
the
son
house
of
of
and there
Baasha,
is no
and left him not
because
one
they
that
have
stood
sinned
against
Jehoiada.
the
against
wall,
thee.
neither
And
of
they
his
came
people,
before the king.
or of his friends.
The king
Thus
also
did
said
Zimri
unto
to destroy
them,
all the
Take
house of
with
Baasha,
you
according to
the
the word of the
servants
Lord
of
which
your
he spake
Lord, and
against
call
Baasha by
Solomon
Jehu
my
the
son
prophet.
to ride
For
upon
all the
mine
sins of
own
Baasha,
mule,
and the sins
and
of
bring
Bela
him
his
down
son, by which
to
they
Jaham,
sinned,
and
by
let
which they made
Zadok the
Israel
priest
to
and
sin,
Nathan the
provoking
prophet
the
anoint
Lord God
him
of Israel to
their
anger
king
with their
over
enemies.
Israel. And
Now the rest of the
blow
acts of
ye with
Asa,
the trumpet,
all
and
that he
say,
did,
God
are they not
save
written
King
in the book
Solomon.
of the Chronicles of the kings
Then
of
ye
Israel?
shall come up after him, that
or if
he
there
may
be
come and sit
caterpillar,
upon my
In the
throne, for he
27th
shall be
year
king
of
in
Asa
my
king
stead,
of Judah,
and
their
I have
sins,
Zimri
appointed
reigned
him to
7
be
days in
ruler over
Tirzah, and the
Israel and
people
over
were
Judah.
encamped against Gibbethon,
And
which belonged to the
Benaiah
Philistines.
the son
And the
of
people that were
Jehoiada
encamped heard say,
answered the king and
Zimri
said,
hath
Amen.
conspired, and
The
hath
Lord God
also
of my
slain the
Lord
king.
the king
Wherefore
say
all
so
Israel
too.
made Omri, the
As the
captain of the
Lord
host,
hath
king
been
over
with my
Israel that
Lord
day in the
the
camp.
king,
And
even
Omri
so
went up
be
from
he with
Gibbethon,
Solomon,
and all Israel did
and
this
make
again,
this
and they
throne
besieged
greater than the
Tirzah.
throne of
And
my
it came to
Lord
pass
King
when
David.
Zimri
So
saw that the
Zadok
city
the
was
priest
taken,
and
he went
Nathan
into the
the
palace
prophet
of the
and
king's house, and
Benaiah
burnt the
the
king's
son
house
of
over him with fire, and
Jehoiada
for his sins which
and
he
the
sinned, of doing evil in the
Cherethites
sight of the
and the
Lord,
Pelethites
walking in the way
went
of
down and
Jeroboam,
caused
and his
Solomon
sin
to
which he
ride
did,
upon
to make Israel
King
sin.
David's mule
Now the rest
and
of the
brought
acts
him
of
to
Zimri
Gihon.
and his treason that he wrought,
And
are they not
Zadok
written
the
in the book
priest
of the
took an
Chronicles of
horn
the
of
kings of
oil out
Israel?
of the
Then were
tabernacle
the
and
people of
anointed
Israel
Solomon.
divided into
And
2
they blew the
parts.
trumpet, and
Half
all
of
the
the
people
people
said,
followed
God
Zimri the
save
son
King
of
Solomon.
Giddah to make
And
him
all the people
king,
came
and
up
half
after
followed
him, and
Omri.
the people
But the
piped
people that
with
followed Omri
pipes and
prevailed
drank
against the
with
people
great
that
joy,
followed
so
Zimri
that
the
the
son
earth
of
rent
Giddah.
with the
So
sound
then
of
they
it.
died,
And
and Omri
Adonijah
reigned.
and all the
In
guests
the
that were with
31st
him
year
heard
of
it,
Asa king
as
of
they
Judah
had
began
made an
Omri to
end
reign
of
over
Edom.
Israel 12
And
years
when
and
Joab
6 years reigned.
heard the
Tirzah,
sound of the
and
trumpet,
he
he
bought
said,
the hill of
Wherefore is this
Samaria of
noise
Shemer
of
for 2
city
talents of
beings
silver, and
in
built
an
on the
uproar?
hill, and called the name of the city
And
which he
while
built
he yet
after the
spake,
name of
behold,
Shemer,
Jonathan
owner
the
of the
son
call
of
to battle
Abiathar
against
the
them.
priest
But
came,
Omri
and
wrought evil
Adonijah
in the
said
eyes of
unto
the
him,
Lord, and
Come
did
in,
worse than all
for
that
thou
went
art
before
a
him.
valiant man,
For he walked in all the
and
ways of
bringest good
Jeroboam the son
tidings.
of Nebat.
And Jonathan
And he
answered
sinned
and
wherewith he
said
made Israel
unto
to sin,
Adonijah,
to provoke
Finally, our Lord King David hath made Solomon king.
Now the rest of the acts
And
of
the
all
king
which he
hath
did
set
and his
with him
mind they
Zadok
shewed,
the priest,
are
and
they not
Nathan,
written in the book of the Chronicles of the
and
kings of Israel?
Benaiah,
So
the son
with his fathers and was buried in Samaria.
Jehoiada, and the Cherethites and the Pelethites, and they have caused him to ride upon the king's mule. And Zadok the priest and Nathan the prophet have anointed him king of Gilead, and they are come up from thence rejoicing, so that the city reigned again. This is the noise that ye have heard. And also Solomon sitteth on the throne of the kingdom. And moreover, the king's servants came to bless our Lord King David, saying, God make the name of Solomon better than thy name, and make his throne greater than thy throne,
And
and
reared
become
up an
bowed
altar
himself
for
upon
Baal in the house of Baal,
And also
which
thus
he had
said
built
the
in
king,
Samaria.
Blessed be the
Ahab
Lord
made a
God
grove,
of
and
Israel,
Ahab
which
did
hath
more to
given
provoke the
one
Lord God of Israel
to
to
sit
anger
on
than
my
all the
throne
kings
this
of
day.
Israel that
Mine
were before
eyes
him.
even
In
seen
his
it.
days did Hiel
And all
the
the gates that
Bethelite
were with
build
Adonijah
Jericho. He
were
laid the
afraid,
foundation
and
thereof,
rose
and
up and went every
Abiram,
man
his
his ways.
firstborn, and
And
set up the gates
Adonijah
thereof,
feared
and his younger
because
son
of Solomon,
Zebul,
and rose and
according
went,
to the word of the
and
Lord
caught
which he
hold
spake
on
to
the
Joshua
horns
the
of
son
the
of Nun.
altar. And it was
And Elijah the
and it was
Tishbite, who
told
was of the
Solomon,
inhabitants of
saying,
Gilead,
Behold,
said unto
Adonijah
Ahab,
feareth
As the Lord God
King
of Israel
Solomon, for
liveth,
lo,
that over my
he hath
hand,
caught hold
shalt
on the
not be
horns of
dew
the
nor
altar,
rain
saying,
these years, but
Hath
according
King
to my
Solomon
word.
swear unto me
And the
today
word of the
that he
Lord
will
came
not
unto
slay
him,
his
saying,
servant
Get
with
thee
the
hence,
sword.
and turn thee
And
eastward,
Solomon
and
said,
hide
If he
thyself
will
by
show
the brook
himself a
Kidron,
worthy
that
man,
is before
thou
Jordan.
shalt not
And it shall
inherit
be that
of
thou
him
shalt
all
drink
to
of
the
the
earth.
brook, and I have
But if
commanded the
wickedness
ravens
shall
to
be
feed
found
thee
in him, he
there.
shall die.
So he went and did
So
according
King
unto the
Solomon
word of the
sent,
Lord,
and they
for he
brought
went
him
and dwelt
down
by
from
the
the
brook
altar,
Cherith,
and he
that is
came and
before
bowed
Jordan.
himself
And the ravens
to
brought
King
him bread
Solomon.
and
And
flesh in
Solomon
the
said
morning, and
unto
bread
him,
and flesh in the
Go
evening,
to
and he
thine
drank from the
house.
brook. And it came to
On the
pass after a
days
while
of
that the
David
brook
drew
parched
nigh
up,
that
because
he
there
should
had been no
die,
rain in
and
the
he
land.
charged
And the
Solomon
word
his
of the
son,
Lord came
saying,
unto him, saying,
I go the way of
Arise,
all the
east
earth.
unto
Be thou
Zarephath,
strong,
which belongeth
therefore,
to
and
Zidon,
show
and
thyself
dwell
a
there.
man,
Behold,
and
I have
keep
commanded a widow
the
with a
charge
moor
of the
to
Lord thy
sustain thee.
God to
So
walk
he arose and
in
went
his
to
ways,
Zarephath.
to
And when
keep
he
his
came to the
statutes
gate
and
of the
his
city,
commandments
behold,
and
no
his
household was
judgments
there
and his
gathering
testimonies,
witness. And he called
as
the
it is
steward and
written in
said,
the law
Fetch
of
me, I
Moses,
pray thee, a
that
little
thou
water of the
mayest
vessel, that I
prosper
may
in
drink.
all that thou
And as he was
doest,
going to
and
fetch it, he
whithersoever
called to
thou
her and said,
turnest thyself.
Bring me, I pray thee, a morsel
Let the
from the
Lord
tree
may
of thine.
continue his word
And
which
she
he
said,
spake
As the
concerning
Lord
me,
thy God
saying, If
liveth,
thy
I have
children
not
take
sinned,
heed
but
to
an ant
their
walked in the
way
hole
to
of the
walk
sparrow,
before
and a little
me in
oil is
truth
bruised.
with
And
all their
behold, I am
heart
gathering
and
two
with
sticks that I
all
may
their
go in and
soul,
press it for me and my
there
sons,
shall
that
not
we may
fail
eat it and die.
said
And Elijah
ye,
said
a
unto
man
her,
on the
Fear
throne
not,
of Israel.
go and do as thou hast said.
Moreover, thou knowest
Thereof will the
also
cake first and
what
bring it unto
Joab,
me.
the son
After,
of
make for thee
Zeruiah,
cloths for
did
thy
to
son.
me, and what
Thus
he
saith the
did
Lord God
to
of
the two
Israel,
captains
The
of the
barrel of
host of
meal
Israel,
shall
unto
not
Abner,
waste, neither shall the
the son
cruse
of
of oil
Ner,
fail,
and
till the day that the Lord
Mesa,
sendeth
the
rain
son
upon
of
the earth.
Japheth,
And she went and
whom
did
he
according
slew
to the
and
saying
shed
of
the blood
Elijah.
of war in
And
peace,
she
and put the blood
her
of war
house
upon
many
his
days.
girdle
And the
that
barrel
was
of
about
meal
his
wasted
loins,
not,
and
neither did
his
the cruse
shoes
of
that were
oil
on his
fail,
feet.
according to the word of the Lord which he spake by
Do
Elijah.
therefore according to thy
And it came to pass
wisdom,
after
and let
these
not
things,
his
that the son of the one,
poor
which was of
head
the
go
house, fell
down
sick,
to the
which his
grave in
sickness was
peace.
so sore that
But
there was no
show
breath
kindness
left in him.
unto the
And
sons
she said
of
unto Elijah, What have I to do
Gilead,
with thee, O thou man of God? Art thou come unto me to call
and
my
let
sin
them
to remembrance
be
and
of
to slay
those
my
that
son?
eat at
And
thy
he said unto
table.
her,
For so
Give
they
me thy
came to
son.
me
And
when I
took him out
fled
of her bosom,
because of
carried him up
Absalom
into a
thy
loft
brother.
where he abode,
And
laid
behold,
him on
thou
his bed.
hast with thee
And he cried unto the
Shimei,
Lord and
the
said,
son of
O
Gera,
Lord my God, hast thou also brought trouble upon the
Benjamite
widow with whom I sojourn, slaying her son?
which
And he
cursed
stretched
me
himself
with a
upon the
grievous
child
curse
3
in
times,
the
and
day
cried
when I
unto
went
the Lord, and
to
said,
Mahanaim,
O Lord my God, I pray thee, let this
that
child's
he
soul
came
come
down
into
to
him
meet
again.
me at
The
Jordan,
Lord
and I
heard the
swear
voice of
to him
Elijah,
by the
and the
Lord,
soul of the
saying,
child came into him
I
again,
will
and
not
he
put thee to
revived.
death with
And
the
Elijah
sword.
took the child
Now
and brought
therefore
him down
hold
out
him
of the
not
chamber
guiltless,
into the
for
house,
thou art a
and
wise
delivered him
man,
unto
and
him.
knowest what thou
And Elijah
oughtest
said,
to
See,
do unto him.
thy son liveth.
But his
And the Lord said
forehead
to
bring
Elijah,
thou
Now
down
by
to the
this I
grave
know
of
that
blood.
thou art a man of God,
So David
that the
slept
word
with
of the
his
Lord will be in
fathers,
thy
and was
house.
buried in the city of
And it
David.
came to
And
pass
the
after many
days
days that
that
the word of the
David
Lord came
reigned
to
over
Elijah the
Israel
third
were
year,
40
saying,
years.
Go, hide
7
thyself
years
under thy
reigned
son,
in
and I will send rain upon the
Hebron,
earth.
and 30
And Elijah
3
went to
years
shew himself
reigned
unto Ahab.
in
There
Jerusalem.
was a sore famine in
Then set Solomon upon the throne of David his father, and his kingdom was established
I have
greatly.
heard thy prayer and thy
Adonijah the son of
supplications
Haggith
before me.
came
I
to
have hallowed this
Bathsheba,
house which thou hast
the
built,
mother of Solomon,
my name
and
there
she said,
forever.
Comest
Mine
thou
eyes
peaceably?
and mine heart shall be there perpetually.
And he said,
And thou wilt
peaceably?
walk before me as
He
David
said,
thy
Moreover,
father
I have
walked
somewhat to
in
say unto
integrity
thee,
of
and
heart
you shall say
and
on.
uprightness,
And he
according
said,
to
Thou
all that I
knowest
have
that
commanded
the
thee,
kingdom
and
was
my
mine, and that
statutes
all
and my
Israel set
judgments.
their faces
I
on
will
me,
establish
that
the
I should
throne of
reign.
thy kingdom
Howbeit the
in
kingdom is
Israel
turned
forever,
about,
as I
and is
promised to
become my
David thy
brother's,
father,
for it
saying,
was his
there shall not
from the
there
Lord.
be a man upon the throne of Israel.
And now I
But
ask
if
one
he shall
petition of
hold
thee,
to
deny me not.
following me,
And she said unto him, Say on.
that thou
And
wilt
he said,
deliver thy
Speak, I
servant
pray
into the
thee,
hand of
unto
thy
Solomon the
enemies to
king,
slay
for
me.
he will not say
As the
thee
Lord thy
nay.
God liveth, there is no nation, O king,
He give
which my
me
Lord hath not sent to seek
and
thee.
Bishak,
And when they said, He is not there,
the
he took Ahithophel the
Shunammite, to
king of the
wife.
nation,
And
that they found
Bathsheba
before thee.
said,
And now
Well,
thou sayest,
well,
Go, tell
I
thy
will
Lord,
speak for
behold,
thee
Elijah
unto the
is
king.
here.
Bathsheba therefore went
As
unto
soon as I am gone from
King
thee,
Solomon
for
to
the
speak
Spirit of
unto
the
him
Lord
for
shall carry thee
Adonijah.
whither I know
And the
not.
king rose
So
up
when
to
I come
meet
unto
her, and
Ahab,
bowed
and
himself
he cannot
unto her,
find thee, he
and
shall
sat
slay
down on
me.
his
But
throne,
I
and
thy
caused
servant
that
fear
she
the
be
Lord
set
from my youth.
for the king's
Was it not
mother.
told my Lord
And
what
she
I
sat
did by
on his
Jezebel
right
to
hand.
the prophets of the Lord?
And they
How
shall
I hid
answer,
100
Then
men
she
of the
said,
Lord's
they
prophets
I
by 50,
desire
and
one
gave
small
and fed them
petition
with
of
bread
thee.
and water.
I
Now
pray
thou
thee, say
sayest, Go
me
tell
not
thy
nay.
Lord, behold, Elijah
And
is
the
here.
king said unto
He
her,
shall
Ask
slay me.
on,
and have
my
worshipped
mother,
Elijah said,
and served
As
for
the
I
Lord of
will not
hosts
say
liveth,
thee
hath the
nay.
before whom
Lord
I
brought
And she
stand, I will
said,
surely
Let
show
Abishai,
myself unto him
the
today.
And
Shunammite,
it came to
So
pass
be
at
Obadiah
the
given
end
to
of
went
20
Ahab
Adonijah,
and
years,
told
when
him,
Solomon
thy
had
brother, to
built
Went
wife.
to
the
meet
two
Elijah.
And
houses,
King
the
And it
house of
came to
the
Solomon
pass
Lord
answered
when
and
and the
said
Ahab
unto
saw
king's
him,
Elijah,
house.
that
And
Ahab
why
Now
said
dost
the
unto
thou
king of
him,
ask
Tyre
Art
had
thou
furnished
he that
King
Abishai, the
troubleth
Solomon with
Shunammite,
Israel?
cedar
for
trees
He
and
Adonijah?
fir
answered, I
trees,
have
and
not
with
troubled
gold
Ask
Israel, but
according
for
to
him
thou
the
all his
and thy
kingdom
father's
desire.
also,
house,
That
in
then
that ye
King
have
for he
Solomon
is
forsaken the
made
mine
commandments of
highway
the
elder
20
Lord,
cities
brother.
in
and
the
thou
land of
hast followed
Galilee.
Baalim.
And
Now
Hiram came
therefore
out
For
from
send,
him,
Tyre
gather
to
to me
see
all
the cities
Israel
which
unto Mount
Solomon had
Carmel,
given him,
and the
and they
prophets of
pleased him
Baal,
not. And he said,
450,
What
and the prophets
cities
of
are
the groves
and
these which thou
for
400,
hast given
which
me,
eat
Abiathar,
at
my
the
brother?
Jezebel's
priest,
table.
And he
and
So
for
called
Ahab
Joab,
them
the
the
sent
son
unto all
land
the
of
children of
Canaan
Israel,
to
Zerahia.
and
this
gathered the
day.
prophets
Then
And
King
together at
Hiram
Solomon
Mount
sent to
swear
the
by
Carmel.
the
king
Lord, saying,
And Elijah
600
God
came
do
unto
so
talents
all the
of
to
people and
me,
gold,
said, How
and,
and
long
and
this is the
halt
more
ye
reason
also,
between
of
two
a
if
levy
opinions?
which King
Adonijah have
If the
not
Solomon
Lord be
raised
spoken
God,
this
to
follow
word
build
him.
the
But
against
house
his
if
of the
own life.
Lord
Baal,
and
then
his
follow
own
him.
Now
house. And
And
therefore, as the
Elijah
Elijah
did
Lord
not a
liveth,
word.
and the wall of
Then said
which
Jerusalem,
hath
Elijah unto
and
him,
established me,
Gezer and
and
I,
set me
Megiddo,
on the
even I
throne of
only,
David
for
remain
my
a
Pharaoh
prophet
father,
of the
king of
Lord.
and who
Egypt had
hath
But
gone
made
up
me
Baal's
an
and
prophets are
taken
house,
Gezer
as
and
450
he
burnt it
men.
with
promised.
fire,
Let them
and
Adonijah
therefore
shall
slain
be
give
the
us
put
2
Canaanites
to
that
bullocks,
death
dwelt in
and
the
this
let them
day.
city,
choose
and
1
given it
bullock
for
for
And King
themselves
themselves,
and
and
to
Solomon
cut
his
it in
sent
daughters,
pieces, and
Solomon's
lay it
by
wife.
the
on
hand
wood. Put
of
no
And
fire
Solomon
under
built
it.
Benaiah,
Gezer,
I will
and
dress
the
the upper
son
Beth-horon
wood,
of
the
and lay
nether,
it on wood,
Joiada.
and
and pour no
Baalath,
fire under
and
it.
And
Tappuah
Call
it
the
ye
fell
on the
builders
name
upon
of
of the
your
him
land,
that he
gods, and
died.
and
I
all
will
the
call on the
cities of
name of the
store
Lord.
that Solomon
And the
had,
God that
And
and
answereth
cities
by
for his
fire and
Abiathar
chariots,
the
sword,
and
ye
priest
God.
cities for his
said
All
to
the
horsemen,
King,
people
and that
answered
Get
which
and
thee
said,
Solomon
to
It is
desired
well
to build in
spoken.
Jerusalem,
And Elijah
and
Anathon
said
in
unto the
Lebanon,
prophets
and
of
in all
into
the
Baal,
thine
land
own
of
Choose you
field,
his
1
for
dominion.
bullock
thou
for
art
And
worthy
yourselves,
all
of
and
the
death.
dress it
people that
first.
were
For
left
Ye
I
of
all
the
will
that
not at
remain,
this
Amorites,
call
the
on
time
the name
put
of
thee
Hittites,
to
the
your
death,
God.
Perizzites,
because
Put no
thou
Hivites, and
fire
the
under it.
Jebusites,
bearest
And
the
they
which
ark
were
did,
of the
not the
Lord
and
children of
given
God
them,
before
Israel,
they
David thy
their
dressed it.
father.
children that
Call
were
And
on the
left
name
because
of
after
thou
Baal
Manoah,
from
hast
morning
whom the
even
been
children of
afflicted in
until
Israel
all
noon,
also were
wherein my
not
O
able
father was
utterly to
Baal, hear
afflicted.
destroy.
us.
Upon
But there
those
was no
did
So
voice,
Solomon
Solomon
nor
levy
any
a
thrust
that
out
tribute
answered,
of
for
bond
the
Abiathar
gift
service
upon the
unto
from
altars
this
being
was
day.
priest
made.
unto the
But of
And
the
it
Lord,
came
that
to
children of
he
pass
might
at
Israel
noon
did
fulfill
that
the
Solomon
word
Elijah
make
of the
no
mocked
Lord,
them, and
bondmen,
said,
but they
which
Cry
he
whom
spake
Pharaoh
aloud, for
concerning the
approved,
he is a
house
and his
of
God.
servants,
Either
and
he
his
is
Eli the
talking,
princes,
Shiloh.
and
or
his
he is
captains,
Then
and
pursuing, or he
tidings
rulers, and
is
came
his
in
to
a journey,
Joab
chariots,
or
and
that
his
peradventure
Joab
he
horsemen.
sleepeth.
had turned
These
But
were the
he
chief of
awaketh.
the
And they
officers
cried
at
that
aloud, and
were
Elijah,
over
cut themselves
Solomon's
though
after
work,
he
their manner
turned
with
with
not
knives
after
weapons
and
after.
mighty,
lancets,
which
till the
bare
blood
rule
gushed
And
over
out
the
of
Joab
them.
people
fled
that
unto the
And
wrought
it came to
tabernacle of
evil.
the
pass when
Lord, and
midday
But
caught
was,
hold
Pharaoh's
on the
when
daughter
they
horn.
prophesied until the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice,
King
and there was neither
Solomon that
voice,
Job was
nor any
fled
to answer, nor
into
any
the
that
tabernacle
regarded.
of the Lord.
And Elijah said
And
unto all
behold,
the people,
he
Come
is by
near
the
unto
altar.
me.
Then
All
Solomon
the
sent
people came near unto him,
Benaiah, the
and he
son
prepared
of
the altar of the Lord that was upon the altar. Elijah took
saying,
12
Go,
stones according to the number
fall
of the
upon him.
tribes of the sons of
And
Jacob,
Benaiah
unto whom the
came
word
to
of
the
the Lord
tabernacle
came,
of the
saying,
Lord, and said
Israel
unto
shall
him,
be thy name.
Thus saith
With
the
the stones he
king,
built
Come
an altar
forth.
in the name of the Lord.
And he said,
He made
Nay,
a trench
but I
round
will
the
die
altar,
here.
as great
And
as would
Benaiah
contain 2
brought the
measures of
king
seed. And he put the wood in order,
word
and cut
again,
the bullock
saying,
in pieces,
Thus
and laid
said
him
Joab.
on the wood,
And
and
thus
said,
he answered.
Fill 4 barrels
And
with
the
water,
king said
pour
unto
it on
him,
the
Do
burnt
as he hath
sacrifice,
said,
and
and
on the
fall
wood. And he said,
upon him.
Do it the second time. And they did it the second time.
That
He
thou
said,
mayest
Do
take
it the
away
third time.
the
And
innocent
they did
blood
it the
which
third
Job
time.
shed
And the water ran
from
around
the
about the altar,
house
and filled the trench also with water. And it came to pass at the time of the offering
and
of
the
the
Lord
evening
shall return
sacrifice,
his blood
Elijah the
upon
prophet
his
came to
own
him and
head,
said,
who fell
Lord
upon
God
two
of Abraham, Isaac,
men
and
more
of
righteous
Israel,
and better than
let it be
he,
known this day
and
that
slew
thou art God of
them
Israel,
with the
and
sword,
that I
my
am thy
father
servant,
David,
and I
not
have done all
knowing
these things, and
thereof,
greater.
to wit,
Hear me, O Lord,
Abner the
hear
son
me.
of Ner,
This people
captain
may
of
know
the
that
host
thou
of
art
Israel,
the Lord God,
Amasa
that thou
the
hast
son
turned
of
their heart
Shethar,
back again.
captain of the
And
host
the
of
fire of the
Judah.
Lord fell,
Their
and consumed
blood
the burnt
shall
sacrifice, and the wood,
therefore
and the
return
stones
upon
that
the
were
head
dust,
of Joab,
and licked up the
and
water that was
upon
in
the
the
head of
trench.
his seed
When all the
forever,
people saw
but
it, they fell
upon
on their
David,
faces, and
and
they said,
upon his
The
seed,
Lord,
upon
He
his
is
house,
the
and upon
God,
his
the
throne
Lord,
shall
He
there be
is
peace
the God.
forever.
And Elijah said unto them,
Benaiah.
Take the prophets of words until I came, and my eyes
Jehoiada
had seen it,
went
and
up
let
and
me
fell
hold
upon
thou
him,
hast
slew him,
not told
and
me.
he was
Thy
buried in his
wisdom
own
and
house
prosperity
in the
exceedeth
wilderness.
the fame which I
And
know.
the king put
Happy are thy
Benaiah,
men,
the son
happy are
of
these thy
Jehoiada,
servants which stand continually
and
to
his
before
drum
thee,
over the
and
host.
that hear thy
And
wisdom.
Zadok, the
Blessed
priest,
be the
did
Lord thy
the
God,
king
which
put in the
delighteth
rum
in thee,
of
to set
Abiathar.
thee on the throne
And
of
the
Israel.
king sent and
Because
called
the Lord
for
loved Israel,
Shimei,
forever
and said unto
therefore
him,
made he thee king.
build thee an
to
house
judge
in
them
Jerusalem, and
justly.
dwell there, and go
And
not
he
forth
gave
thence
king
any whither.
120
For it shall be
talents of
that
gold,
on the day
and
thou
the
goest
spices
out and
very great
passest
store,
over the brook
precious stones.
Kidron, thou
There
shalt
came
know
no
for
more
certain
such
that thou
abundance of
shalt surely
spices
die.
as these which the
Thy
queen
blood
of Sheba
shall be
gave
upon
to
thine
King
own
Solomon.
head.
And
And
the
Shimei
name was
said
also
unto the
Hiram,
king,
that brought
the
gold
saying is
from
good,
Ophir,
as my
brought
lord
in from
the
Ophir
king
great
hath said,
treasure,
so will thy
of an
servant do.
almond trees,
And Shimei
precious
dwelt in
stone.
Jerusalem many
And the
days.
king made
And
of
it
the
came to
almond
pass at
trees
the end of
pillars
3
for the
years
house of the Lord,
that
and for
2
the
of the
king's
servants
house,
of Shimei
also
ran
and
away unto
stories for
Achish,
singers.
Sent a
son
messenger unto
of
Elijah, saying,
Almond trees,
So let
nor
the
were
gods
seen
do to
to
me,
this
and
day.
more
king of
also,
Gath.
And King
if I
And
may
they
not
Solomon
do
told
gave
Elijah as the
Shimei,
life
saying,
of one of
behold,
them
thy
by tomorrow
servants
about
be in
this
Gath.
time.
she
And
asked
when he
And
saw
Shimei
that, he
arose
arose
and
and
sat
went
on
for
his
his life,
ass
and
and
came to near
went
Sheba, which
So
belongeth
she
to
to
turned
Gath
Judah,
and
and
to
left
went
his
to
Achish
her
to
servant
own
seek
there.
his
country,
servants.
But he
And
she
himself
Shimei
went a
and her
went
day's journey into
and
the
servants.
brought his
wilderness.
Now the
servants
weight
from
of
Came
Gath.
and
gold
sat
that
down
And it
came
was
under a
to
told
juniper
Solomon
Solomon
tree.
that Shimei
And he
had gone
requested
from
for
Jerusalem
himself
to
that he might
Gath
score
die.
and
in
And
6
said,
talents
Ptolemais.
of
It is
gold,
enough
And the
now,
king
O
sent
beside
Lord,
that he
take
had
away
of
my
the
life,
merchantmen,
for I
and
am not
and
called
of
better
the
for
than my
traffic of
Shimei
the
and
fathers.
said
spice
unto
But
him,
as he
did
merchants,
lay
I
and
not
slept
and
make
under
of
a
the
thee to
juniper
kings of
tree,
swear
Arabia,
behold,
by the
an
and of the
angel
Lord
approached
and
governors of
him,
a
and
country.
said
protest
unto
unto
him,
thee,
And
saying,
King
know
Arise,
for
Solomon
and
made
eat.
a
And
certain
he
200
looked, and
targets,
on the
behold, there was
day
a
thou
goat, big
goest
as the
out
sun
and
600
god,
walkest
shekels of
and
abroad
gold
cruse
any
of
whither,
water
went
at
that
his
into
head.
thou
one
shalt
And
target.
surely
he did
die.
eat
And
and
he
drink,
made
and
And
laid
thou
him down
300
to
saidst
eat.
unto me,
shekels
And
of
the
the
word
angel
pure
of
that
the
I have
gold.
Lord
heard
came
is good.
again the
3
second
pounds
time,
of
Why
and
gold
then
touched him, and
hast
went in
said,
thou
one
not kept
sheep.
the
Arise
oath
The
and
of
eat,
the
king
Lord
put them
because the journey
in the
and the
is
house
too
of the
great for
commandment
forest
thee.
of
that
Lebanon.
I
And he
have
arose and did
charged
eat
Moreover,
and
thee
the
with?
drink,
king
and went
made
in
a
the
great
strength
The
of
king
life
said
throne of
3
moreover to
ivory,
days and
Shimei,
and
40
he
thou
nights
overlaid it
knowest
unto
with the
Horeb the
best
mount of
all
God.
the
The
And he
throne
wickedness
came
had
which
cedar
thine
thither
heart
unto a
stands,
gate
and the
disputeth,
that
top of
lieth
the
that
there.
thou
throne
And
was
didst
behold,
to
the word of
round
the
David thy
Lord came
behind,
father.
to him,
and
and
there
said
were
Therefore
unto
the
him,
Lord
staves
shall
in either
What
return thy
doest
side
thou
wickedness
here,
of the
upon thine
place
Elijah?
of
own
the
head.
And he
seat.
said,
And
I
And
have
King
been
the
very
Solomon shall
lion
be
jealous for the
blessed,
Lord
stood
God of
beside the
and the
hosts,
throne
for the
of
staves.
children of
David shall
Israel
And
be
have
12
established
forsaken thy
lions
before the
stood
covenant,
Lord
there on
forever.
the
thrown
one
down thine
side,
altars,
So
and
and
the
on the
king
slain thy
other
commanded
upon
prophets with
the
the
Benaiah the
sword.
son
steps.
of
There
I,
was
even
none
I
otherwise
only,
Jehoiada,
have met,
made in
and
any
they seek my
which
kingdom.
life
went
to
out
take
and
it
fell
And
away.
all
upon him
King
that he
He
died.
Solomon's
said,
drinking
Go
And the
forth
vessels
and
king
were
was
stand
of
upon the
gold,
mount
established in
before
and
the
his
all the
Lord.
hand
vessels
And
of the
solid.
behold,
house
the
of the
Lord
forest
And
passed
of
by,
Lebanon
Solomon
were
made
and
of
a
a great
pure
and
trinity
gold,
with
strong
Pharaoh
wind
and
king of
were
rent
of
Egypt,
the mountains,
silver.
and
It
took
was
and break the
Pharaoh's
nothing
peace of the
daughter
account
and
rocks
of
brought
before the
her
in the
Lord.
into the
days of
For
city
the
of
Lord
Solomon.
David,
was not in the wind.
For the
until
king
he
had
After the
had
wind, an
made an
earthquake.
end
$180
of
of
building
Marvel
his
not in
watchmen,
own
the
the
house
earthquake.
and the
navy of
house
Hiram.
After the earthquake,
Once
a
of the
in
fire.
3
Lord,
But the
years
Lord was
came the
and the
not
navy of
in the
wall of
fire.
Tarshish,
And
Jerusalem
and
after the
round
gold and
about.
fire, a
silver,
still
Only would
ivory
small
and
people
voice.
apes, and
sacrifice
And
in
it was
peacocks.
high
so.
places,
So
When
because
Elijah
there
heard it,
was
that
no
he
exceedingly
wrapped
house
his
all
built
the
face in
kings
his
of the
unto
mantle,
the
earth
name
went
of the
out and
Lord
stood in
unto
the
those
forward.
entering
days.
in of the
And
cave.
And all
And
the
Solomon
earth
behold,
loved the
sought
there
to
came a
Lord,
voice
Solomon
unto him
walking
and
in
for
his
said,
his
statutes
wisdom,
What doest
which
thou
God
here,
had put
of
Elijah?
in his
David his
And he
heart.
said,
father.
And
I
they
have
Only
been
brought
very
every
jealous
he
man
for the
his
Lord God
sacrificed
of
bread,
and burnt
hosts,
vessels
incense
because
and
the
high
children of
places.
Israel have forsaken
And
thy
the king went
garments,
to
and thrown
Gibeon
down
to
thy altars, and
sacrifice
slain
there,
thy
for
prophets
that
with the
was the
sword.
great high place,
Even I only
with
am left,
1,000 burnt
and they
offerings
seek
that
my life
Solomon
to take
offered
it
upon
away.
that
And the Lord
altar.
said unto
And he
him,
had
In
1,000
Gibeon, the Lord
Return out
appeared
thy way to
unto
the wilderness of
Solomon in a dream by
Damascus. When
night.
thou comest,
And God
anoint
said,
Hazael
Ask
to be king
what
over
I shall
Syria.
give thee.
and with the
And
king
Jehu
And
the son
Solomon
of
said, Thou
Nimshi
hast
shalt thou
showed
anoint
unto
to
thy
be king over
servant David my
Israel.
father
And
great
Elisha
mercy
the son of
according as he
Shaphat
walked
of
before thee in truth
Abel-Meholah shalt thou
and in
anoint to be
righteousness
prophet
and
in
in
thy room.
upright
that are in the
And it shall come
vale
to
of heart
pass
with
that
me.
him that
And
escapeth
thou
the sword
hast
of
kept
Hazael
for him
shall
his great
Jehu
kindness
slay,
that
and
thou
him that
hast
escapeth
given
from the
him a
sword of
son to
Jehu
sit on
shall
the
Elisha
throne
slay.
at a
as
price.
Yet
it
I have
is
left
And
me
the
today.
7,000
And
in
now,
Israel,
O
went out,
all
Lord
the
my
knees which
God,
have
thou
not
hast
bowed
made
unto
thy
Baal,
servant
and every
king
mouth
instead of
which have not kissed him.
David my
$150.
So he
father, and
departed
I
thence,
am
and
but
found
a
Elisha
little
the son of
child. I
Shaphat,
know
which
not
was
how to
plowing
go
with
out
12
Did
yoke
they
of
bring
oxen
come in.
them
before him.
out by their
And
And
thy
he with the
servant
12,
But
is in
King
the
and
midst
Elijah
Solomon
passed
loved
by him,
many
thy
and cast
strange
his
people
women,
which
mantle
thou
upon him.
hast
together with the
And he
chosen,
left
daughter
a
of
the
great
oxen, and
Pharaoh,
people,
ran after
women
that
of the
Elijah,
cannot
and
be
said,
numbered
Moabites,
nor
Let me,
counted
I
Ammonites,
for
pray thee, kiss
multitude.
my
Edomites,
father and
Give
my
therefore
mother,
thy
Zidonians,
and
and
then
servant
I will follow
Ammonites,
thee.
understanding
of the
heart
He said
nations
unto
to
him,
judge
concerning
thy
Go
which
back
the
people,
again,
that
Lord
I may
for what
said
have I
discern
done to
unto
thee?
between good
Israel,
and
And he
Ye
bad.
shall
returned back
For
not
from
who is
him,
go
able
and
in,
to
took a
judge
yoke of
this
oxen,
neither
and
shall
slew
thy
they
them,
come
so
in
great
boiled
with
their
you,
flesh
a
with the
for
people?
instruments of
surely
the
they will
oxen,
And
turn
the
and
away
gave
speech
unto
from
the
pleased the
you
people, and
Lord
they
after
did
that
their
eat.
Solomon had
gods.
Then he
asked this
arose,
Solomon
thing.
and went after
played
And
on
Elijah,
the
God
and
said
lute
ministered
unto
and
unto
him,
him.
harp,
Because thou
and he
hast
had
And
asked
then
700
Hadad, the
this
wives,
king of
thing, and
Syria,
hast not
gathered all
Princes,
asked
his
for
hosts
of
together,
thyself long
and there were
life,
concubines,
30 and
and
two
his
kings
neither hast asked riches for thyself, nor hast asked the life of thine enemies, but hast asked for thyself understanding to discern judgment. Behold, I have done according to thy words. Lo, I have given thee a wise and understanding heart, so that there was none like thee before thee, neither after thee shall any rise like unto thee. And I have also given thee that which thou hast not asked, both riches and honor, so that there shall not be any among the kings like unto thee all thy days. And if thou wilt walk in my ways, to keep my statutes and my commandments, as thy father David did, then I will lengthen thy days. And Solomon woke, and behold, it was a dream. And he came to Jerusalem and stood before the ark of the tabernacle of the Lord, and offered a burnt offering, and offered peace offerings, and made a feast unto all his servants. Then came there two women that were harlots unto the king, and stood before him. And the one woman said, O my Lord, I and this woman dwell in one house, and I was delivered of a child with her in the house. And it came to pass the third day after that I was delivered, so this woman was delivered also.
The gods do so unto thee and
And
thy
we were
servant.
together, there was no
Thus
stranger with us in the house, save
I
we
will
two
not
in
do it
the
for
house.
David thy
And
father.
this woman's child died in the night, because she overlaid it. And she arose at midnight and took my son from beside me, while thine handmaid slept, and laid it in her bosom, and laid her dead child in my bosom. And when I rose in the morning to get my child set, behold, it was dead. But when I had considered it in the morning, behold, it was not my son, which I did bear. And the other woman said, Nay, living is my son, and dead is thy son. And this
For 6 months did Joab remain there with all Israel until he had cut off every male in the land.
and
He
living is
then
thy son.
fled,
Thus
he and certain
speak
Edomites
before
and
the
his
Lord.
father's servants with him.
Provinces,
Go
and they were
into Egypt.
232.
Hadad
After
being
them
said
yet
the
a
king,
little
the
child,
one said,
all the
and
children
they
of
rose
This is
Israel
out
my
of
son that
Midian,
liveth,
and
and
came
thy
to
son
Paran,
is the
and
dead.
went
And
and
the
met
other
with them
said,
out of
Nay,
Paran. And they
that
came
thy
to
son
Egypt
is
unto
the dead,
Pharaoh
and
king
my
of
son is
Egypt,
the living.
which gave
And the
him
king
an
said, Bring me a
house,
sword.
and appointed him
And they brought a
defense,
sword
and gave
before the
him
king.
land.
And they
And the
told
king
him,
And
said,
Hadad
Divide
found
the
great
living
favor
child
in
in
the sight
two,
of Pharaoh,
and give half
so that
to
he
the
gave
one,
him to
and
wife the
half
sister
to the
of
other.
his
or
own
whether
wife,
Then
come
spake
the
out
the
sister
woman
of
whose
Taphanes
living
the
child
queen.
was
So
unto the
these
And
young
the
king.
men of
sister
the
of
princes of the
Taphanes
provinces
bare
For her
him
bowels
Edith
yearned
his
and the
upon her
army
son.
which
son.
followed them.
And she said, O
And
my
they slew
Lord, give
every
her the
one of
living
his men.
child, and
And
in
the
no
Syrians
wise
divided
say.
them.
Was in
Israel
But the
Pharaoh's
other said,
household,
Let it be
and
neither
among the
the king
mine
of
sons
nor
of
Syria
thine,
Pharaoh.
escaped on an
but
horse.
divide
And
it.
when
The horsemen
Hadad
Then the
heard
king
it,
answered and
Israel,
said, Give her
David
the
slept
living
with his
child, and in no
fathers,
wise
and
say.
put Joab the captain of the host
She
was
is the
dead.
mother
And the
thereof.
prophet
Hadad
came
said
to
to
the king of
all
Israel and said
Let
unto
me
him,
depart,
Israel
that I
heard
may
of the
go to
judgment
my
which the
own
king had
country.
and see
judged,
what
and they
thou
And
doest.
feared
Pharaoh said
For at
unto
the
the
him,
king,
return of
for
the
they
year,
saw
the king of
What dost thou
that
Syria
lack
will
with
come
wisdom
up
me?
of
against
God
thee.
was in
Behold,
him.
And
thou
the servants of the
seekest
king
to
of
go
Syria
to
said
thine
Wisdom of
unto
God
own
him,
was in
country.
him
their
And he
gods are
answered,
gods
to
of the
do
Nothing.
east.
judgment.
Therefore they
Howbeit,
were
let
stronger
me
than
go
we.
in
So
any
But let us
King
wise.
fight against
Solomon was
them
And
in
king
the
God
over
plain,
all
stirred him
and
Israel.
up
surely we
another
shall be
And these
stronger
were
than
the
adversary
they.
princes
And
the
do
which he
son
this
had.
thing.
of
Take the
Eliada,
kings away,
which
every
fled
man
from
out of
Azariah,
his
his place,
lord,
the
and
son
put
of
captains
Hadad
in
Zadok the
them,
king of
priest,
Zobah.
and number
And
thee
he
in
gathered
army,
men
Elihoreph,
unto
the army
him,
that thou
and
hast
became
lost,
captain
horse
over
for
a
horse,
band
and
Menahiah,
when
chariot for
David
the
slew
chariot.
them
sons
of
of
We
Zobah.
will
Shusha,
fight
And they
against
went to
them in the
scribe
plain,
Damascus, and
and
Jehoshaphat,
dwelt
surely we shall
therein,
be
and
stronger than
reigned in
they.
the son
And he
of
Damascus.
hearkened unto
Ahida,
And
their
he was
voice
an
and did so.
adversary to
report,
And it
Israel
came to
all the
pass
and
at the
days of
return of
Benaiah,
the
Solomon,
year
the
that
beside
they
son
the
had
of
mischief
outnumbered
that
the
Hadad
Syrians and
did.
went
Jehoiada,
up to
And he
was
Ephraim
over
to
the
abhorred
fight
host,
against
and
Israel,
them.
and
Zadok
reigned
And the
over
children of
and
Israel
Syria.
were
Abiathar were
numbered
the
and were
And
all
priests,
present and
Jeroboam
went
the son
against
of
them.
and
Nebat,
And the
Azariah,
children of
and the
Israel pitched
Ephrathite,
the
before
son
them
of
like
Zeredah,
Nathan,
Jerusalem
was
and
Solomon's
over the
overtook it.
servant,
officers,
whose
But the
mother's
and
name
Syrians
was
filled
Ziba,
the country.
the
Zeruiah,
son
And the
a
of
king of
widow
the man
Nathan,
of
was
God
principal
spake unto the
lifted
king
officer,
of
up his
Israel and
hand
said,
and
against the
king's
Thus
strength.
king.
saith the Lord,
And
And this
because
was
the
the
Syrians
cause
have
that he
said,
lifted up
The
his
Lord is
hand
Zishar
God of
against
the
the
was over
king.
hills,
the
but he is not
Solomon
household,
God
built
of the
Milo,
valleys.
and
and
repaired
Therefore
the
will he
Adonijah,
breaches,
deliver
the
all
city
this
of
the
great
son
David, his
of
multitude into
father.
thine
Abda,
hand.
And the men
was
And ye shall
over
Jeroboam was a
know
mighty
that
man
I
of
and
am the
valor.
Lord.
Tibnite.
And
And they
Solomon,
pitched
And
seeing the
before them
Solomon
young
like
and
had
the
against
12
beard
Jerusalem and
officers
industrious,
over
against.
he
all
made
And so
him
Israel,
it
which
was,
ruler
provided
over
in
all
the
the
victuals
seventh day
charge
that
of
for
the
the house
house
was
of
King
Joseph.
joined. And
And
the
it
children
came
Ahasuerus.
of
to pass
Israel
at that
slew of the
time,
Syrians
when
Each man
100,000
Jeroboam
for
his
out of
month in a
Jerusalem,
Jerusalem one day.
that the
year
prophet
made
And the rest
provision.
Ahijah
fled to
the
And
Ephraim, and
Shilonite
the
these
city
found
are
was
him
their
broken
in the
there,
names:
way,
a
the son of Hur,
clad himself with a new
Ephraim,
garment, and
the
they
son
who
of
were
Decca,
alone
came into the city, into a
and a
high
high
chamber.
king caused the new
And his
garment
servants said
that
unto
was
him,
on him,
Behold,
and
now,
rent it in
we have heard
12
that the kings of
pieces.
the
the
house of Israel
Bethlehem,
are
Jeroboam,
merciful kings.
take thee
Let us,
10
I pray thee, put
and
for
sackcloth
thus
on
Elon
our
saith the
loins,
Lord,
and
the
ropes
God of
upon
the
our
son of
heads,
Hesed,
and go
Behold,
out to
I
the
will
king of
and
Israel.
rescue the
Aruba.
kingdom out
Peradventure
of
he
the
will
hand of
save
To
thy
Solomon,
him
life.
and will
pertained
So
give
they
10
girded
tribes to
sackcloth on their
thee.
loins, and put ropes
in
on
Ye
their
all
shall
the
heads.
have
land
one
And came
of
tribe
to the king
for
of
my
Ephraim,
Israel, and
servant
said,
the
David's
son
sake,
Thy
of
servant
and for
Abinadab,
Benhadad saith,
Jerusalem's
I
sake, the
pray
in
city
thee,
all the
which I
let me
region
have
of
live.
Ur,
chosen out
And he
of all
which
the
said,
had
tribes
Is
of
he yet
Israel.
alive?
Tapaz,
He is my
Tapaz,
Because
brother.
that they have
the
Now the men
daughter
did
forsaken
of
me,
diligently
Solomon to
and
observe whether
wife,
worshipped
anything would
Ashtoreth,
come
Bela,
from
the
him,
the
goddess of
son
and
his
of
hastily
idols,
catch it.
Ahilud,
And they
Chemosh,
said,
the
Ahilud,
god of the
Thy brother
Moabites,
to him
Benhadad.
and Milcom,
Then he
pertained
the
said,
god of the
Tianah,
Go ye,
children of
bring him.
Ammon,
and
and have
Megiddo,
And
not
Benhadad
walked
came
in
and
forth
my
to
all
him,
ways,
but
and
to do
caused
that
him
which
to
is
come up
right
into the
in mine
church.
which is
eyes,
by
and
the
to
Benhadad said
keep
temple,
unto
my
him,
statutes
the
The
and
niece
my
cities which my father
judgments,
took
as
from
did
thy
Jezreel,
David
father,
his
I
father.
will
from
restore.
Bethshean
Thou shalt
Howbeit,
to
make streets
I
for
will
Abel
not
thee in
take the
Meholah,
Damascus,
whole
as
kingdom
my father
out of
made in
his
Samaria.
hand, but
even
I will
unto
Then
the
said
make him
place that is
prince over the
I will
beyond
days of
send
his
thee away
life.
with
For
Jokneam,
this
David
covenant.
my
So he
the
servant
made a
son
covenant
Solomon
with him and
of
I
sent him away.
chose,
Heber,
And a
because
and
he
certain
kept
man of
Ramoth
the
my
Gilead.
sons of the
commandments
To
prophets
and my
him
said unto his
pertain the
statutes.
neighbor and the
But
towns
I
word
of
of
will
the
take the
Lord,
Gilead.
kingdom
Smite
out of
me, I
The
his
pray
son's
son
thee.
of
hand,
And the
and
Manasseh,
will
man
give
which
refused
unto
to
are
smite
in
thee
him.
even
Gilead, to
10
Then said
him
he unto
tribes.
also
him,
And
Because
unto
thou
the
art
pertain the
not
son
of
will
my
I
region
give
coast,
of
O
one
Lord,
Argob,
tribe,
behold,
that
as
David
soon
my
as thou art
servant may
departed
Argob,
have a
from me,
light
which
a
is
alway
lion
in
shall
before
slay
Bashan,
me in
thee.
Jerusalem,
As soon
threescore
as
the
he
great
was
city which I
departed
cities
have
from
with
him, a
chosen
lion
thee,
walls
found him
and
to
and slew
my
brazen
him.
name
bars.
there.
Then he found
And I
another
will
man and
take
said,
Ahinadab
thee, and
Smite
thou
me, I
shalt
pray
reign
thee.
and son
according
The
of
to
man
all
smote
that
Eber
him,
thy
so that
soul
in smitten
had
he
desireth,
wounded
and
him.
shalt
So
Mahanah.
the
reign
prophet
over
departed and
Israel.
waited for the
And it
king
shall
by the
Ahimaaz
way,
be,
and
if
was
disguised
thou wilt
in
himself with
hearken
ashes
unto
Naphtali.
all
upon
He
his
that I
face.
also
command
took
And
thee,
as the king
and
Bashmath,
passed
wilt
by,
walk
the
he
in my
daughter
cried
of
unto the
ways,
king,
Solomon
and
to
and
do
he
wife.
that
said,
is right in
Thy
my
servant
sight,
went out
to
Baanah,
keep
into
the
the
my
midst
son
of the
of
battle,
statutes and my
and behold,
Husham,
a man
commandments,
turned
as David
was
aside
in
my
and said
servant
unto the
Asher,
man
did,
unto
and
me,
in
that
and
I
Aram.
said,
will be
Keep
with
this
thee,
man.
and
Jehoshaphat, the
build
If
son
thee
by
of
a
any
sure
means he be
Peruah,
house,
missing,
as I
then
and
built
shall
for
Issachar.
thy life
David,
be
and will
Shimei, the
give
fortified.
son of
Or
Israel
else thou
Elah,
to
shalt
thee.
pay a
and
talent of
Benjamin.
And
silver.
I will for
Geder,
And
this
as thy
afflict
servant
the
the
was
son
city
busy
of
here and
Uri,
there, he was
not
was in
gone.
the
forever.
country of
And the king of
Gilead,
Solomon
Israel said
sought
unto
in
him,
therefore
the
to kill
country
What shall thy
of
Jeroboam,
judgment
and
be?
Sihon,
Jeroboam
Thyself hast
arose
king
and
decided
of
it.
fled
the
into
And he
Amorites,
Egypt
hasted
and
unto
and
of
took the
Shushan,
Og,
ashes
king
away
of
from
king
his
of
Egypt,
face.
and
And
Bashan.
the
was
king
in
of
And
Israel
he
Egypt
was the
until
observed
the
only
that he
death
was.
of
officer which was
Solomon.
in the
And he
land.
said
And
unto
the
him,
rest of the
Judah and
acts of
Thus saith
Israel were
the
Solomon,
Lord,
many
and
of
all
the
that
because
he
thou
same,
did,
hast let
and
go
his
out of
which is
wisdom,
thy
by
hand
are
a
the
they
man
not
sea,
whom
and
I
written in
appointed
the
multitude,
to
book
utter
of the
eating
acts
destruction.
and
of
drinking and
Solomon?
Therefore
making
thy life
merry.
And the
shall go
time
And
that
forty
Solomon
Solomon
5.
reigned
reigned in
And
over
thy
all
people
Jerusalem
kingdoms
over
from the
all
forty.
river
And the
Israel
king of
was
unto
Israel
the
40
went to
land
his
of the
house
years.
heavy and
And
Philistines, and
Solomon
displeased,
to the
slept
border
and
with
of
his
came to
Egypt.
fathers,
They
Samaria.
and was
brought
buried
presents
And
in
it
and
the
came to
served
city of
pass
Solomon
after
all the
David.
these
days of
things
his
that
life.
And
Naboth the
Rehoboam
And
his
Jezreelite
son
Solomon's
had a
reigned
vineyard
provisions
which
for
in
was in
one day was
Jezreel.
Jezreel,
30
hard by
And
the
measures of
palace
Rehoboam
of
went
fine
to
Ahab
Shechem,
flour,
king of
and
for
Samaria.
all
80
And
Israel
measures
Ahab
of
come to
spake
meal,
unto
Shechem to
Naboth,
make
10
him
saying,
fat
king.
Give
oxen,
me thy
And
and
it
vineyard,
came
20
that
to
I may
oxen
pass
have
when
out
it
of
for
a
a garden
Jeroboam the
of
garden,
son of
herbs,
Nebat,
because it
and
is
who
near
was
unto
yet in
mine
100
house,
Egypt,
sheep
heard
I
beside
it,
will give
heart,
for
thee
he
and
for
had
it a
goats,
fled
better
from the
vineyard than
presence
it.
of King
Or if it
Solomon
seem
in
good to
fallow
thee,
Jeroboam
deer,
I will
dwelt
give
fatted
thee the
peaceably.
worth of
fowl.
it
That
in
they
money.
sent and
For he
called
had
him.
Naboth
And
dominion
said to
over all
Jeroboam
the
and
Ahab,
all the
region
The Lord
on
congregation of
this
forbid it,
Israel
side the
that
came
I
river,
and
should give the inheritance of my fathers unto thee.
Thy
Ahab
father
came
made
into
our
his house
yoke
heavy and
grievous.
displeased
Now
because
therefore
of the
make
word
thou
which
over all
Nabal
the
the
kings
Jezreelite
on
had
this
spoken to
side
him.
the
this
river,
heavy
and
For he
he
yoke
said,
had
which he
peace
put
on
I
all
will
upon us
not
sides
give
mightily,
round
thee the
about him.
we will
inheritance of my
serve
And
him.
fathers.
Judah and
And he
Israel
Smote
said
him
unto
dwelt
them,
down
safely,
upon his
every
bed,
man
Depart ye
under
unto
his
turned
the
away his
vine,
face, and
days,
would
then
eat
and
no
under
come
the
bread.
again
fig
to
tree,
me.
But Jezebel his
And the
wife
people
came to
and
him and said
came
departed.
unto
even
him,
to
And he
Beersheba
Why is
rehoboam
thy
all the
spirit
days of
so
sought the
Solomon.
sad,
old men
that thou
that stood
eatest
And
no
before
bread?
Solomon
Solomon
had
his
And he said
father,
40,000
unto
who
her,
were
stalls
yet
of
Because I
living.
spake
horses
unto
for the
Said,
Naboth the
chariots, and
Jezreelite, and said unto
12,000
Have
him,
horses.
eyes
Give me
that I
thine
And
may
those
vineyard for
answer
money,
officers
thee.
or
provided
else, if it
victuals
And
please
to
thee,
they
I
King
will
spake
give thee
unto
Solomon,
him,
another vineyard
and
saying,
for
for it.
all that
And he
came
answered,
Thou
into
I
it.
wilt
will not
be a
give thee my
servant
vineyard.
King
unto this
Solomon
And
people
came,
Jezebel
this
his
day,
wife
every
said unto
man in
and
him,
his
wilt
month.
serve
Dost
them.
thou
They
now
And
left
give him
answer
the
them
nothing.
and
kingdom of
say,
Barley
Israel?
also,
Arise
and
and
Answer
eat
them,
bread, and
straw
let
for
then
thy
the
they
heart
will
be
be
horses.
thy
merry. I will
servants
give
And
thee the
forever.
vineyard of Naboth
But
the
he
the men
considered the
Jezreelite.
counsel
So
of
he
the
the
wrote
old men,
letters
men
in
which they
Ahab's
had
name, and
given
sealed
him,
them with
brought
a
and
they
seal,
consulted
unto
and
the
with
sent
the
the
young
place
letters
where
men
unto
the
the
that
altar
were
elders and
was,
grown
unto the
up with
nobles
every
that
him,
were
man
in the
and
according
that
city,
to his
stood
dwelling with
before
charge.
him.
Naboth.
And
And he
And he
God
said
wrote
unto
gave
them,
in the
Solomon
letters
What
wisdom and
counsel
understanding
proclaim a
exceeding
ye
fast
much,
and
may
and
answer
sensible
those
largeness of
people
on
heart,
high
who
among
have
the people.
even
spoken
as
to
the
me,
And
sand
set
saying,
that
2
is
men,
Make
on the
the
sons of
yoke which
seashore.
Belial,
thy
before
father
him, to
did
bear
And
make
witness
us
Solomon's
against him,
wisdom
light.
saying,
And
excelled
Thou
the young
dost
men
the
blaspheme
who
wisdom
gone
God
of
up
and
with
the
him
all
king.
spake unto him,
the
Then
children
carry
saying,
of
him out
these
and
Thus shalt
stone
countries,
him,
thou
that he
and
may
speak unto
die.
this
all
people,
the
And the men
wisdom
of
saying,
of
his city,
Esau.
Say,
even the
Thy
For
elders
he
father
and
was
the
made our
nobles
wiser
that
yoke
than
were the
all
heavy,
men,
inhabitants
make
in
thou
his
it
city,
and
lighter
each
unto
did
one.
as
us.
Jezebel
Thus
Eat
had
shalt thou
said unto
say
ashes
them.
and
unto them,
height,
And as it
My
was
and
written in the
hair
letters
fig,
shall
which
be
he had
thicker
sent unto
than thy
them,
and
father's
they
loins.
proclaimed
and Dart,
Now
the
whereas my
sons of
father
Hittim.
did laid you with a heavy
And
yoke,
his fame was in all nations round about. And he spake 3,000 proverbs and songs for 1,005.
So
And
Jeroboam
he
and
spake
all the
of
people
trees
came to
from
Rehoboam the third
the
day,
cedar
as the
tree
king had
that is
appointed,
in Lebanon,
saying,
even
Come to
unto
me
the
again
hyssop
the third day.
that
And
springeth
Jezebel
out of the
answered the
wall.
people roughly,
He spake
and
also
said,
of beasts
Behold,
and
men of
fowls,
counsel,
and
when
of
they
creeping
came,
things,
and spake to them after the counsel
and
of
there came of
Jehoshaphat,
all
saying,
people to hear
My
the wisdom
father
of
made
Solomon
your
from
yoke
all
heavy,
kings
and
of
I
the
will
earth,
add to your
which had
yoke.
heard of
My
his
father
wisdom.
also chastised you with whips,
And Hiram,
but I will
king of Tyre,
chastise
sent
you
his
with
servant
scorpions.
unto Solomon, for he had
Wherefore the
heard
king
that they
hearkened
had
not
anointed him
unto
king
me.
in the room of his
For the
father.
cause was
For
from the
Hiram
Lord,
was
that he might perform
ever
his
a lover of
saying,
David.
which the Lord
And
spake
Solomon
by
sent to
Ahijah
Hiram,
the
saying,
Shilonite
Thou
to
knowest how that
Jeroboam
David
the
my
son
father
of
could not
Nebat.
build an house unto the
So
name
then
of the
all
Lord his
Israel
God,
saw
for
him
the
speak
wars which
upon
were
the
about
God.
him on every side,
People
until the
answered the
Lord
king,
put them
saying,
under the
And what
soles of his
portion
feet.
have we
But
in
now
David?
the Lord my God hath given me rest on every side, so that there is neither adversary nor
Now
evil
see to thine
occurring.
own house,
And
David,
behold, I
so
purpose
Israel
to build an
fell
house unto the name of the Lord my God,
But as for the
as the
children of
Lord spake
Israel,
unto David my
so
father,
cities of
saying,
Judah
Thy son,
reigned
whom
over
I will set
them.
upon thy
King
throne
Rehoboam sent
in thy room,
who was
he
over
shall
them,
build an
and
house
all
unto my
Israel
name.
stoned
Now,
with stones,
therefore,
that he
command
died.
thou that they
Therefore
hew
King
me
Rehoboam made
cedar
speed to get
trees
up to
out
his
of Lebanon,
chariot to
and my
flee
servants shall be with thy servants,
So
and
Israel
unto thee will
rebelled
I give
against the
thy
house
house
of
for
David
thy
unto
servants
this
according
day.
to all that
And
thou
it came
shalt
to
appoint.
pass, when
For
all
thou
Israel
knowest that
heard
there
that
is not
Jeroboam
among
was come again,
us
they
any
sought
that
to provoke
is
him.
skilled
But the
to
congregation
hold timber,
made him
like
king
unto
over all Israel. There was none
Sidonians.
that followed the house
And
of
it
David.
came to
But the
pass, when
tribe
Hiram
of
heard
Judah
the words of
followed.
Solomon, that he rejoiced greatly, and said,
And when King
Blessed be the
Rehoboam
Lord
was come
this
to
day, which
Jerusalem,
hath
he
given unto
assembled
David
all the
a
house of
wise
Judah
son
with the
over
tribe
this
of
great people.
Benjamin,
And
and
Hiram
104,000
sent to Solomon, saying, I have considered
which
the
were
things that thou
warriors to
sentest
fight against the house of Israel,
to me
to bring
for,
the kingdom
and
again
I
to
will do
Rehoboam,
all
the son of Solomon.
thy desire
But the
concerning
word of
timber,
God came
of
unto
cedar,
Shemaiah, the
and
man of
concerning
God,
timber of
saying,
fir.
Speak
Thy
unto
servant shall
Rehoboam,
bring
the
them
son of
down from
Solomon, king of
Lebanon
Judah,
unto
and
the
unto
sea,
all the house of
and
Judah,
I will convey
and
them
to the
by sea
people
and
of his
float
days, saying,
unto
Thus
the
says
place
the
that
Lord,
thou shalt
ye shall
appoint me,
not go
and
up,
will
to
cause them to
fight
be
against your
discharged
brethren,
there,
the
and
children
thou
of
shalt
Israel.
receive them.
Return
And
the
thou
third
shalt
year,
accomplish my
and
desire in giving food for my household. So Hiram gave Solomon cedar trees and fir trees, according to all his desire. And Solomon gave Hiram 20,000 measures of wheat for food to his household, and 20 measures of pure oil. Thus gave Solomon to Hiram year by year. And the Lord gave Solomon wisdom as he promised him. And there was peace between Hiram and Solomon, and they two made agreement together. And King Solomon raised a levy out of all Israel. The levy was 30,000 men. And he sent them to Lebanon 10,000 a month by force. A month they were in Lebanon, and 2 months at home.
And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat,
Adoniram was over the levy, and Solomon had 310,000 that bare burdens, and 4,000
concerning me, but
in the mountains,
For the
besides the
Jehovah
chief
to worship
Let
before
not
the
the king
one
say so.
even unto death.
And the king of
officers
Israel
And he made
called
an
an officer and
officers of
said,
high places,
Hasten
over
hither,
the
and
work,
Micaiah, the lowest of the people,
3,300,
and the king of
which
Israel
ruled
and
over the
Jehoshaphat,
people
the king
that
of Judah,
wrought
sat
the
each
work.
on his throne,
And
And the
Jeroboam
king
having put on their
commanded,
a
robes, in a
feast,
void
and they
place
brought
against
great
the gate
stones,
of
coffee
Samaria.
of the
stones,
All the
and
prophets
huge
unto the
prophesied
stones
feast
before
that
them.
is in
to lay the
Judah.
And
foundation
Zedekiah
of
the
the
son
house.
of
the altar.
Kenan
And
So did
Solomon's
he
made him the
builders,
horns of iron.
sacrificing
And
unto
he
the
said,
Hiram's
calves that
builders
he
Thus
had
did
saith the
made.
Lord,
even,
And he
with
placed
and
these
his
the
shalt
Bethel,
thou
stones
push the
the high
Syrians,
places
square
till thou
which he
have
had
so
made.
that
consumed them.
So
so
he
they
offered
All the
prepared
upon the
prophets
timber
altar
and
which
prophesied
he
so,
had
stones to
made
saying,
in
build the
Bethel
Go
the
house.
up to
15th
Ramoth
month of
Gilead
the
and
And it
8th
prosper,
month,
came to
even
for
the
the
pass in
Lord
the
month
shall
which he had
deliver it
480th
into
devised
the
in his
king's
own
hand.
year,
And the
and
after the
ordained
messenger
the
that
children
was
of
feast
gone
Israel
that
which
were
he
told
had
come out
Micaiah
of
prepared,
the
and
land
he
of
spake
Egypt,
unto
offered upon
him,
the
in the
saying,
altar,
4th
and
year
Go
of
he
down,
looked in the
Solomon's
for the words
city.
of the
reign,
prophet
And
which
that were
behold,
was
there
a
good unto
month,
the
came a
king
man
with
of
one
God
mouth.
out of Judah,
which is
by
the
the word
second
of the
one,
Lord
he
unto
began to
Bethel.
build the house
And
of the
Jeroboam
Lord.
stood by
And
the
the house
altar
which
during
King
his
Solomon
sins.
built for
And
the
he
Lord,
cried
the
against
length
the Lord
thereof
in
was
the
three
word
square
of the Lord,
cubits,
and said,
and the
So he
breadth
came to the
thereof
king.
20
The king said
cubits,
unto
and
him,
the height
Micaiah,
thereof 30
Behold, a
shall we
child
go
shall
against
be
the
and
born
the
ruler
in the
of
porch
house
David,
of
before the
David,
or
temple
shall
of
to
the
we go
house
Josiah
10
by
back?
name.
cubits
And
was
he
the
answered
To
him,
thee
length
shall he
Go,
give
thereof
the
and
priests
according
of the
to the
high
the
breadth
Lord
of
places
the
shall
house,
deliver it into the
incense
and
hand
10
of the
upon
king.
cubits
thee,
was
and
the
men's
And the king
bones
breadth
said
shall
unto
be
thereof
him,
burnt
before the
upon
How
thee.
many
house.
times shall
And
And
I
for
the
the
king
endure
house
of
he
thee?
desired
made
the
Now
same
tell
length
me
day,
of
nothing
saying,
but
narrow
that which is
This is
lights.
the
true in the
And
sign
name of the
which
against
the
the
Lord.
Lord
wall
hath
of the
And he
spoken.
house
said,
he built
Behold,
Why
chambers
so?
the altar
round
For
shall
about,
be
Israel
rent
scattereth
against
from
the
the
among the
walls of
hills,
the
ashes,
and
house
that
shall
on
round
the
build
money
not
about,
a
shall be
shepherd.
both
poured
And the
out.
Lord said,
And it
of
came
the
to
Tell the
pass
temple
master
that
and
and
of the
Jeroboam
return every
heard the
man to
oracle,
saying
his
of the
house
man
and
in
of
he
peace.
made
God.
chambers
And the
Which
king
had
of
round
Israel
about.
cried
said
against
unto
the
The
altar in
Jehoshaphat,
nethermost
Bethel.
Did
chamber
I
was
not
Put
tell
5
forth
thee,
his
and
cubits
hand from
broad,
the
prophesied
altar,
no
and
thing
saying,
the
Lay
concerning
middle
hold
was
me,
on him.
but
6
evil?
cubits
And
broad,
his
and
He
the
hand
said,
which
third
he
was
put
Hear
forth
7
thou
against
cubits
him
therefore the word
broad.
of
cried
the Lord.
out,
For
so that
without
he
I
in the
saw the
fell
Lord
wall
from
of the
sitting
heaven
on
house he
his
against
made
him.
throne, and
narrow
all the
rafts
host of
round
heaven
The
about
standing
that
altar
by
the
him on the
also
right
was
beams
hand
rent,
should not
and
be
and
the
on the
ashes
fastened
left.
in the
poured out
The
wall
from
of
the
Lord
the
said,
altar,
house.
Who
according to the
shall
And the
persuade
prescription
house,
of the
when
Ahab
man
it
of
was
God,
that he
in
make a
given
building,
by
wonder
the
was
word
full
of
built
the
of
from
Lord.
of
stone
Gilead?
made
And the
ready
king
before
And
it was
said
answered and
on
brought
said
this
to the
thither,
matter,
man of
and
so
God,
others
that
said
there
on
Take
was
that,
him
neither
now the
hammer
and
nor
face
he
of the
axe
boldly
Lord
nor
thy
spake,
any
God
and
into
stood
the
tool
before
field,
the
of
Lord, and
iron
said,
till my
hurt him,
hand
I
may be
will
while it
destroy
restored
was
me
him.
built.
again.
And the Lord
And
said
the
unto
man
While
of
it
him,
God
was
besought
ended,
the
Wherewith?
Lord,
And he
and the
the
said,
king's
door
hand
I will
of
was
the middle,
restored
foretell
him
thee
for the
in
again,
the
middle
and
lying spirit
became
chamber
and
as
by
it
was
the
was
in
law
the
of his
right
before.
side
prophets.
of the
And he
house,
And
and
the
said,
they
king
went
said
Thou
up
unto the
shalt
man
with
of
persuade him,
God,
and bring
Come
him
one
home
also
with
square
me and
into the
before
refresh
middle
thine.
thyself.
chamber,
And I
and
will
Now
out
give
therefore,
thee
of the
a
middle
behold,
reward.
the
into the
Lord
third.
And the
hath
man
put a
of
So
God
he
lying
said
built the
unto
spirit in the
house
him,
and
mouth of all
If
finished it,
thou
these
wilt
prophets,
give
and
me
and
and
the
covered the
Lord
half
hath
house
mine
with
spoken
house, I
beams
evil
will
and
not
boards of
go
concerning thee.
in
cedar.
with thee.
And
But
then
But
Zedekiah
he
the
built
son of
Zedekiah
chambers
the
Chenaanah
against
king
all the
watered
went
house,
in his
near
5
and
place.
cubits
smote
high, and
Micaiah
eight
on the
Wheresoever he
cheek, and
abreast
charged
it.
said,
me by the
On the
word of
Which
the
way
house
went
Lord,
the
went
spirit
saying,
of the
timber
Lord
of
from thee
Eat
to
cedar,
bread,
speak
and the
unto
word
thee?
of
drink
the
water,
Lord came to
nor
Micaiah
drink
Solomon,
said,
again
saying,
by the
Behold,
same
thou
word
concerning
of
shalt
thy
this
see
house
in
mouth.
which
that
thou
day
So
art
he
in
thou
went
building,
shalt
another
go
if
way,
into an
thou
and
wilt
inner chamber
walk
to
returned,
hide
not
in
by
thyself.
my
the way that he
statutes
And the
and
king
came
of
to
Israel
execute my
Bethel.
said,
judgments,
Take Micaiah
and
And
keep
and
my
another
carry him
dwelt
back
commandments to
unto
Joab
walk
the
in
Amon,
them,
the
prophet
governor
in
of the
then
Bethel.
city.
will I
And
And Joab
perform
the
Joab
my
king's
word
came
son
with
and
thee,
told
which I
him
saying,
all
spake
the
Thus
unto
words
saith
that
the
the
David
king,
man
my
of
father.
God
Put
had
this
done
fellow
that
into
And
day
I
in
will
prison,
Bethel.
dwell
feed him
among
the
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 bread of
children
words
of
which he had
affliction,
Israel,
and
and
the
spoken
I
water
he
will
of
not
gave.
affliction,
forsake
Then
until
they
he
my
come in
told
people
peace.
Israel.
also to their
For
And
Solomon
father.
built
Micaiah
the
said,
And
house
their
and
If
father
thou
finished it.
said unto
return at
them,
all in
What
peace, the
way
Lord
went
hath not
And
he?
he
spoken
For
built
by
the
his
me.
walls
sons
of
had
the
And he
house
seen
said,
within
what
the
order
boards
the
Hearken,
of
man
O
of
cedar,
God
people,
both the
every
did,
one
which
floor
of
of the
you.
came
house
from
and the
Judah.
So the king
walls
of
And
of
he
the
Israel
said unto
and
ceiling.
his
And he
sons,
Jehoshaphat the
covered
king of
them
Saddle
on
Judah went
the
me
up to
down.
inside
Ramoth
with
So they
wood,
Gilead.
and
saddled
covered
And
him
the
the
king of
down
floor of the
Israel said
house
from
unto
with
there
beams of
on,
Jehoshaphat,
and
fir.
I
went
will
after
disguise
the
the
And
man
man,
he
of
and
built
God
enter into
20
the
round
battle.
cubits on
him
the side
But
of
look
the
singly.
house,
thou at
both the
thy
And
floor
robes.
and the
he
And the
said
king of
walls,
unto him,
Israel
with
disguised
Art
boards of
thou
himself
the
and
cedar.
man
went
of
into
He
God
battle.
that
even
But
camest
the
even
king
from
of
built
Judah?
Syria
them for
And he
commanded
it
his
said,
30
within,
I
and 2
am.
even
captains,
for
Then
the
he
and
said
set
unto
oracle,
rule
him,
even
over his
for the
chariot,
most
Come
holy
home
saying,
with
place.
me,
Fight
and
neither
And
give
the
with
bread.
house
small
that
nor
And
is
he
great,
the temple
I may
before
not
it was
return with
40
thee, nor go
cubits
in
long,
with thee,
and the
into the
cedar of
lions,
the
nor
house
ever so
within
drink water
was
with thee in
carved
this
with
Surely it
knights,
is the
place.
King
For
of
it was
Israel.
said to
and
me by
open
the
Turned
voice of
aside
the
to
flowers.
fight
Lord,
against
thou
him.
shalt
All was
eat
And
cedar.
thereof,
There
Jehoshaphat
was
nor
no
cried
drink
out.
stone
water
And
seen.
it
there,
came to
nor
And
pass
the
when the
drink
oracle
captains
he
of the
into
prepared
by
in
chariots
the
the
house
way
perceived
that
that
thou
this was
within to
not the
camest.
set
king of
the ark
Israel,
of
He
the
said
that
unto
they
covenant of
turned
the
me,
back
Lord.
from
I am a
pursuing him.
prophet
And a
also
certain
as
man
thou
drew a
art.
bow
And an
at a
angel
venture, and
spake
smote
unto
the king
me
of
by the
And the
Israel
word of
between
the
the
oracle
Lord,
in
joints
the
of the
saying,
fore
harness.
Bring him back
Wherefore he
with
part
said
thee
was
unto the
20
into
driver of
thine
the
cubits
house,
in
chariot,
that he may
length,
Turn
eat
thine
and
bread
20
hand
and
and
drink
cubits
carry
in
me
water.
unto the
breadth, and
host,
But
20
he
for I am
cubits.
lied
wounded.
unto
And
him.
the
The
height
battle
So he
thereof,
ceased that
and
went
he
back
day,
with him,
and the
overlaid
and
king
it
was
with
did
stayed
pure
eat
up
bread
in
in
his
gold,
his
and
chariot
house,
against
so
the
and
covered
drink
Syrians,
the
and
water.
died
altar
at
And
even.
it came
which
to
was
The
of
blood
pass, as
ran
cedar.
they
out of the
sat
So
at
wound into
Solomon
the
table,
midst of the
overlaid
the
the
word
chariot.
of
house
the
within the
Lord
And there
pure,
went
came
a
unto the
proclamation
prophet
throughout
that
the
was
within
host
with
about the
pure
Habakkuk.
going
gold,
down
and
And
of
he
the
he
sun,
made
cried
a
unto
saying,
the man
petition
of
every
God
of
that
man to
came
his
chains of
unto
city, and
him,
gold
every man
saying,
to
before the
his own
Thus
oracle,
country.
saith the
and he
So the
Lord,
king
overlaid it with
for
died and
as
was
gold.
much
brought
as
to
thou
Samaria,
hast
and they
disobeyed
buried
the
the
mouth
king
And the
of
in
the
whole
Lord,
Samaria.
house he
and hast
overlaid
not
with
Solomon
washed
washed
the
gold
the
until
chariot
chariot
and
he
the
had
which the
pool
Lord
finished
thy
also.
all
God
the house,
commanded
Above
also the
thee,
whole
but
lifted up his
altar.
camest
blood,
back,
and
and
they
hast
washed his
eaten
That
armor,
was
bread,
by
according
from
the
unto
the
the
heart
word
oracle
of the
of the
he
Lord which he
place
overlaid
spake.
with
of which
gold.
the
Now
Lord
the rest of the
said
And
acts of
to
within
him,
the
Ahaz, all
No
that
oracle
he
he
bread
made
and
did,
2
drink no
and the
cherubims of
water.
ivory house which
polished
Thy
he made, and
cedar,
carcass
all the
shall
cities
not
that he
each 10
come
built,
unto the
cubits
are they
high.
not written in
sepulchre
the
of
book
And
of the
thy
5
chronicles of the
fathers.
cubits
kings of
was the
Israel?
And it
one
came to
wing of
So
the
pass after
cherub,
he
Ahaz
had
slept
and
with his
eaten
5
fathers,
bread,
cubits
and
the
and
after
other
he
Ahaziah
had
wing
his
of the
son
drunk,
cherub,
reigned
he
in his stead.
saddled for
from
him
the
the ass
uttermost
Jehoshaphat
part of
to
the
the son of
one
cause
wing
him
Ahaz
to
began
unto
to
the
eat
reign over
more
uttermost part
Judah
of
fat.
the
in the
other,
4th
And
year of
he was
14
Ahaz king of
gone,
cubits.
a
Israel.
And
lion and
the
by
Jehoshaphat
other
the
was
way
30
cherub
and
was
of
5
his
10
years old when
cubits.
he
men.
began
Both
And
to
the
his
reign,
carcass
cherubims
was
he
were
reigned
cast in the
of
21
way,
one
years in
and
measure
he
and one
Jerusalem.
rested by
size.
And
it.
his
The
mother's
The
name
lion
height
was
of
was
the
of
one
Azubah,
cherub
the
Sheba
was
the
daughter
10
of
cubits,
harlot.
Shiltai.
and
And
so
And
behold,
he walked
then
in
was
all
it
the
of
passed
the
ways of
other
by, and
Asa
saw
his
the
cherub.
father. He
carcass
turned not
cast in
And
the
he
aside
way,
from
set
it,
and the
doing
the
that
lion
which was
sat
cherubims
right in the eyes
by the
of
within
the
these
Lord.
inner
and the
house, and they
king,
Nevertheless,
and
the
stretched
high
lo,
forth the
places were not
wings
suddenly
of
taken
the
away.
behold, a
cherubim,
For the
prophet
people
dwelt.
so
offered in
that
And
the
burnt
when the
wing of
incense
prophet
the
yet on
brought
the
one
him
high
touched
back
the
from the
places.
one
way,
wall,
And
and the
thereof,
wing
Jehoshaphat
of
made
the
peace
other
with
with
the
the
king of
cherub
man of
Israel.
touched the
God,
Now
other
the rest
wall.
of the acts of
And their
Jehoshaphat
wings
and his
touched
therefore
might,
the
one
Lord,
another
shewed
in the
that he
midst.
therefore the
warred.
Lord hath
Are they not
And
delivered
he
written
him
in the book
unto
of
the
the
overlaid the
lion,
chronicles
which
of
cherubims
the
hath
with
kings of
torn
gold.
Judah?
him, and
the
slain him
remnant of the
carved all the
Cenobites who
walls
had
of the
reigned
house
in the
round
days of
about
his
with
father
carved
Asa, he
figures of
took out of the land.
cherubims and
And he
There was
spake to
then
his
no
sons,
king in
saying,
Edom.
flowers,
Deputy was
me,
king.
and without.
Jehoshaphat made ships and
And the
Tarshish
floor of
to
the
go to
house
Ophir for
carcass
he
gold.
cast in
overlaid
the
with
way,
gold
and the
within
ass
and
of the
without.
lion standing
And
by
for
the
the
carcass.
entering of
The
the
lion
Lord
had
did he
not
make
eaten the
doors of
carcass,
olive
nor
unto
trees.
Jehoshaphat,
the ass.
let my servants go
And
with thy
took up the
servants in the
carcass
ship.
of the man of
lintel
But
God,
Jehoshaphat
and
would not.
laid it
side
upon the
And
posts
ass,
were
Jehoshaphat slept
a
with his
fifth
fathers and
part
was
of the
buried with his
wall.
fathers in the
The
city
two
of
doors
David his
also
father.
were of
And
olive
Jehoram
tree,
his
and
son
he
reigned in
and
his
he
carved
laid
stead.
his
upon them
carcass
carvings
Ahaziah the
of
son of Ahab
cherubims
began
and
to reign
palm
over
trees
Israel
and
in
him
Samaria
flowers, and
the
overlaid
17th
them
year
with
of
gold
Jehoshaphat
and
king of
spread
And it
Judah.
came to
gold
pass
upon
Reigned
the
after
2
he
years
had
cherubims
over
buried him,
Israel.
that
and
he
And he
upon
spake
did
the
to
palm
his
evil in the
son,
trees.
sight of the
saying,
Lord, and
When
walked in the
I
way
So
of
am
his
dead,
also
father,
made
and in
he
the way
for
of
the
his
then
mother,
door
may the
of
and in the way of
sepulchre
the temple
Jeroboam the son of
posts
man
of
of
Nebat,
God
olive
who made
examine,
Israel
trees
to sin.
lay my
For he
in
bones
served
fourth parts
Baal,
of
beside
the
his
and
wall.
worshipped him,
bones.
And
and
the
For
provoked
the
to
two
same
anger the
which
Lord
doors
God of
cried
were
by
of
the
Israel,
fir
word of the
tree.
according to
Lord
all
against
that
The
the
his
two
father
altar
had
of
leaves
done.
of
Bethel,
the
and
one door
against
were
all the
folding, and the
houses of
two
the high
leaves of the
places
other
which
door
are
were
in the
folding.
cities of
And he
Samaria
carved
shall
thereon
surely
cherubims
come to
and palm
pass.
trees and open
After
flowers,
this
and
thing
covered them with
Jeroboam
gold
returned
fitted
not from
upon
his
the
evil
carved work.
way, but made again of the
And he
lowest of the
built the
people
inner
priests
court
of the high
with 3
places.
rows of
Whosoever
hewed
would,
stone and
he
a row of
consecrated
cedar
him, and
beams.
he
And
became
the
one of the
4th year
priests of
was
the
the
high
foundation of the
places.
house
And
of the
this
Lord
thing
laid
became
in the
sin
month of
unto the
Zip.
house of Jeroboam,
And
even
in
to
the
cut it
11th
off, and to
year,
destroy
in the
it from
month
off the face of the
Bul,
earth. At that
which
time
is the 8th
Abijah
month,
the
was
son
the
of
house finished
Jeroboam
throughout,
fell sick.
all the
And
parts
Jeroboam
thereof, and
said to
according
his
to
wife,
all the
Arise, I
fashion of
pray
it.
thee, and
So
disguise
was he
thyself,
7
that thou
years
be
in
not
building.
known to be the wife
But
of Jeroboam,
Solomon was
and give
building
thee
his
to
own
Shiloh.
house
Behold,
13
there is
years, and he
Ahijah the
finished
prophet,
all his
which
house.
told me
He
that
built
I
also
should be
the
king
house
over this people.
of the
And
forest of
take with
Lebanon.
thee
The
10
length
loaves,
thereof was
and
an
cracknels,
100
and a cruse
cubits,
of
and
honey,
the
and go to him,
breadth
and he
thereof
shall
50
tell thee
cubits, and
what
the
shall
height
become
thereof
of
30
the
cubits,
child.
upon
And
4 rows
Jeroboam's
of
wife
cedar
did
pillars,
so, and
with cedar
arose,
beams
and
upon
went
the
to
pillars,
Shiloh,
and it
and
was
came to the
covered with
house of
cedar
Ahijah. But Ahijah could
above
not see,
upon
for
the
his
beams
eyes
that
were
laid
set by
on
reason of
45
his
pillars,
age.
15
And
in
the
a
Lord
row.
said unto
And there were
Ahijah,
windows in 3
Behold, the
rows,
wife of
and light
Jeroboam
was
cometh to
against
ask a
the
thing
light
of thee for her son. For
for
he
3
is
ranks.
sick. Thus and thus shalt
And
thou
all
say
the
unto
doors
her,
and posts
for
were
it shall
square,
be when she
with
cometh
the
in,
windows, and
that she shall
light was
feign
against light
herself to
in
be
3
another
ranks.
woman. And it was so,
And he made a
when
porch of
Ahijah
pillars.
heard the sound
The
of
length
her
thereof was
feet as
50
she
cubits,
came
and the
in at
breadth
the
thereof
door,
30
that he
cubits, and the
said,
porch was
Come
before
in,
them,
thou
and the other
wife of
pillars and the
Jeroboam.
thick beam
Why
were before
feignest
them.
thou thyself
Then
to
he
be
made a
another?
porch for the
For
throne,
I
where
am
he
sent to
might
thee with heavy
judge, even the
tidings.
porch of
Go tell
judgment, and
Jeroboam,
it was
Thus
covered with
saith
cedar
the
from
Lord
one side
God
of the
of
floor to the
Israel.
other.
For
And
as
his
much
house
as I
where he
exalted thee
dwelt
from
had
among
another
the people,
court
and made thee
within
prince
the
over my
porch,
people
which was
Israel, and rent
which
the
was
kingdom
of the
away
like
from the
work.
house of
Solomon
David,
made
and
also
David
an house
thee,
for
and
Pharaoh's
yet thou
daughter,
hast
whom he
not
had taken
been
to
as my
wife,
servant
like unto
David,
this
who
porch.
kept my
All these were
commandments,
of
and
costly
who
stones,
followed me with
according to
all
the
his
measures of
heart,
hewed
to do
stones,
that
sawed with
only which was
saws,
right in
within
mine
and
eyes.
without, even from
But
the
hast
foundation
done
unto
evil
the
above all
coping,
that were
and so
before
on
thee.
the
For thou
outside,
hast gone and made the other
and
gods
so on
and
the
molten
outside toward the
images
great
to
court.
provoke me to
And the
anger,
foundation
and
was of
hast
costly
cast me
stones,
behind thy back.
even great
Therefore,
stones, stones of
behold, I will
10
bring evil
cubits, and
upon the house
stones
of
of 8
Jeroboam,
cubits,
and
and
will cut
above were
off from
costly stones
Jeroboam
after the
him
measures
that
of
piseth
hewed
against
stones
the
and
wall,
cedar.
and him that is
And the
shut
great
up and
court
left in
round about
Israel,
was
and will
with
take
3
away the
rows of
remnant
hewed
of the house
stones,
of
and
Jeroboam,
a
as a
row
man
of
taketh
cedar
away
beams,
dung
both
till it
for
be
the inner
all
court of
gone.
the house of the Lord, and for
Him
the
that
porch of
dieth
the
of
house.
Jeroboam in the
And
city
King
shall the
Solomon
dogs
sent and
eat,
fetched
and him that
Hiram
dieth in
out
the
of
field
Tyre.
shall the
He
fowls of the
was
air
a
eat,
window
for the
son
Lord
of the
hath
tribe
spoken
of
it.
Naphtali, and his
Arise
father
thou
was
therefore,
a man
get
of
thee to
Tyre,
thine
a
own
worker in
house,
brass.
and when thy
And he was
feet
filled with
enter
wisdom
into
and
the city,
understanding and
the
cunning
child
to work
shall
all
die,
works in
and
brass.
all
And he
Israel
came to
shall
King
mourn
Solomon
for
and
him
wrought
and
all
bury
his
him.
work.
For
For he
he
cast
only
2
of
pillars of
Jeroboam shall
brass of
come to the
18
grave,
cubits high
because
apiece,
in him there is
And
found
a line
some
of 12
good thing
cubits
toward
did
the
compass
Lord God
either
of Israel in
of
the
them
house
about.
of Jeroboam.
And he
Moreover,
made
the Lord
2
shall raise him
chapiters
up a
of
king
molten
over Israel,
brass
who
to
shall
set
cut
upon
off the
the
house of
tops of the
Jeroboam
pillars.
that
The height
day.
of one
But what?
chapiter was
Even
5
now.
cubits, and the
For
height
the
of the
Lord
other
shall
chapiter
smite
was
Israel
5
as a
cubits,
reed is
and nests
shaken in the
of
water.
checker work
And he shall
and
root up
reach
Israel
of chain
out of this
work,
good
for
land
the
which he gave to their
chapiters were
fathers,
which
and
were
shall
upon
scatter
the
them
top of the
beyond
pillar,
the river,
7 for the
because
one
they have
chapiter and
made
7
their
for the other
groves,
chapiter.
provoking the Lord
And
to
he
anger.
made the
And he shall
pillars
give
and 2
Israel
rows
up
round about
because of the
upon
sins of Jeroboam, who did
the
sin,
one
and
net
who
work
made
to
Israel to
cover
sin. And
chapiters
Jeroboam's
that
wife
were upon
arose
top
and departed,
with
and came
pomegranates,
to
and
Tirzah.
so
And
did
when she
he for
came
the
to the
other
threshold of
chapiter.
the door, the child died. And
And
they
the
buried
chapiters
him,
that were
and
upon
all
the top
Israel
of the
mourned
pillars
for him,
were of
according to
lily
the
work
word
in
of
the
the Lord,
porch,
which
4
he
cubits.
spake by the
And
hand
the
of his servant
chapiters
Ahijah the
upon
prophet.
the 2
And
pillars
the
had
rest of the
pomegranates
acts of
as
Jeroboam,
above
how he warred, and how
over
he
against the
reigned,
belly,
behold, they
which
are
was
written
by
in the
the
book of the
network, and the
Chronicles of the
pomegranates
kings
were
of
200
Israel.
in rows round
And the
about
days which
upon the
Jeroboam
other
reigned
chapiter.
were 22 years, and he slept
And he
with his
set
fathers.
up
And
the
Nadab his
pillars
son
in
reigned
the
in
porch
his
of the
stead.
temple, and he set
And
up the right
Rehoboam the
pillar,
son of Solomon
and called the
reigned
name
in
thereof
Judah.
Jachin.
Rehoboam
And
was
he set up the
41
left
years
pillar,
old when he
and
began
called the
to
name
reign,
thereof
and he reigned
Boaz.
17
And
years in
upon the top
Jerusalem,
of the
the
pillar
city
was
which the
lily work.
Lord did choose out
So
of all
was
the
the work
tribes of
of the
Israel
pillars
to
finished.
put his name there.
And he
And his
made a
mother's
molten
name
sea,
was
10
Naamah,
cubits
and
from the one
Ammonitis.
brim to the other. It
And
was
Judah
round all
did evil
about,
in the
and
sight
his
of the
height
Lord,
was 5
and they
cubits,
provoked
and
him to
a
jealousy
line of
with their
30
sins
cubits
which
did
they had
compass it
committed
round
above
about.
all
And
that their
under the
fathers
brim
had
of it
done.
around
For they
about
also
there were
built them
knops
high places and
compassing
images
it,
and
10
groves
and a
on every
cubit
high
compassing
hill
the sea
and
round
under
about.
every
The
green
knops
tree.
were
And there
cast
were
in 2
also
rows when it was
Sodomites in the
cast.
land, and they
It
did
stood
according to all
upon
the
12 oxen,
abominations of the
3
nations
looking
which the
toward
Lord
the north,
cast
and 3
out
looking
before the
toward the
children
west,
of Israel.
and 3
And
looking
it
toward
came
the
to
south, and
pass in
3
the
looking
5th
toward
year
the
of
east.
King Rehoboam
And the sea
that Shishak,
was
king of
set
Egypt,
above
came
upon
up
them,
against Jerusalem. And he took away the treasures of the house
and
of the
all
Lord,
their
and
hinder
the
parts were
treasures of the
inward.
king's house. He even
And
took
it was
away
an
all,
hand
and he took
breadth
away
thick,
all the
and the
shields of
brim
gold
thereof
which
was
Solomon
wrought
had
like
made.
like the
And King
brim of a cup,
Rehoboam
with
made in their
flowers of
stead
lilies.
brazen
It
shields, and
contained
committed them
2,000
under the
baths.
hands of the chief
And
of the
he
guard,
made 10
which
bases
kept the
of
door of
brass.
the
4
king's
cubits was
house.
the length of
And it
one
was
base,
so,
and
when the
4
king went into
cubits
the house of the Lord,
the breadth
that the guard
thereof,
bare
and 3
them,
cubits
and
the
brought
height
them
of it.
back into the
And
guard
the work of
chamber.
the bases
Now the rest of the
was
acts of Rehoboam,
on this
and all
manner.
that he
They had
did, are they
borders,
not
and
written
the
in the
borders were
book of the
between the
Chronicles of
ledges.
the
And on
kings
the
of Judah?
borders that were between
And
the
there
ledges
was
were
war
lions,
between
oxen, and
Rehoboam and
cherubims.
Jeroboam
And upon the
all their
ledges there was
days.
a base above
And
and
Rehoboam
beneath
slept
the
with his
lions,
fathers, and was
and
buried with
oxen
his
were
fathers
certain
in the city of David. And his
additions
mother's
made
name
of thin
was
work.
Naamah, and
And every base
Ammonitis,
had
and
4
Abijam
brazen
his
wheels
son
and plates
reigned in his
of
stead.
brass, and the 4 corners thereof had undersetters. Under the laver were undersetters molten at the side of every addition. And the mouth of it within a chapiter and above was a cubit, but the mouth thereof round after the work of the base a cubit and half, and also upon the mouth of it were gravings with their borders 4 square, not round. And under the borders were 4 wheels. The axle trees of the wheels were joined to the base, and the height of the wheel was a cubit and half a cubit. And the work of the wheels was like the work of a chariot wheel. Their axle trees and their naves and their felloes and their spokes were all molten. And there were 4 undersetters to the 4 corners of one base, and the undersetters were of the very base itself. And in the top of the base was there a round compass of half a cubit high, and on the top of the base the ledges thereof and the borders thereof were of the same. For on the plates of the ledges thereof and on the borders thereof he graved cherubims, lions, and palm trees according to the proportions of every one, and additions round about. After this manner he made the 10 bases. All of them had one casting, one measure, and one size. Then made he 10 layers of brass. One layer contained 40 baths, and every layer was 4 cubits. And upon every one of the 10 bases one laver. And he put 5 bases on the right side of the house, and 5 on the left side of the house. And he set the sea on the right side of the house, eastward of against the south. And Hiram made the lavers and the shovels and the basins. So Hiram made an end of doing all the work that he made King Solomon for the house of the Lord. The 2 pillars and the 2 bowls of the chapiters that were on the top of the 2 pillars, and the 2 networks to cover the 2 bowls of the chapiters which were upon the top of the pillars, and 400 pomegranates for the 2 networks, even 2 rows of pomegranates for 1 network to cover the 2 bowls of the chapiters that were upon the pillars, and 10 bases and 10 lavers on the bases, and 1 sea and 12 oxen under the sea, and the pots and the shovels and the basins and all these vessels which Hiram made to King Solomon for the house of the Lord were bright brass. In the plain of Jordan did the king cast them, in the clay ground between Succoth and Zarthan. And Solomon left all the vessels unweighed, because they were exceeding many, neither was the weight of the brass found out. And Solomon made all the vessels that pertained unto the house of the Lord, the altar of gold, and the table of gold whereupon the showbread was, and the candlesticks of pure gold, 5 on the right side and 5 on the left, before the oracle, with the flowers and the lamps and the tongs of gold, and the bowls and the snuffers and the basins and the spoons and the censers of pure gold, and the hinges of gold, both for the doors of the inner house and most holy place, and for the doors of the house, to wit, of the temple. So was ended all the work that King Solomon made for the house of the Lord. And Solomon brought in the things which David his father had dedicated, even the silver and the gold and the vessels did he put among the treasures of the house of the Lord.